Welcome to Truth Behind Illusion podcast.
Oh shit! I thought the
no, we already
there's
did
two songs.
No,
we did. There was a countdown.
We did all that.
Oh.
You guys are talking through it.
Oh boy!
Truth Behind Illusion podcast,
Sorry.
episode 54. We are talking the ghosts of Gettysburg.
And here I'll end. I was going to end with this, but I will intro with this.
Start with
it says it's said in the movie, and it's an actual line that was said in real life to Confederate soldiers, to Union soldiers. It was, "See in hell, Johnny Reb. See in hell, Belly Yank."
There it is.
Because they would come together and they would trade, whether it was water, alcohol, or chew tobacco, that kind of thing, and then they would go back to their separate lines.
Well, of course, you still need to chew tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then kill each other.
So a lot of brothers and stuff were on different sides of the party. So
yeah,
they were split.
If you're listening to the audio, Anthony here with Andy and Kelly. So yeah, we'll be talking Ghosts of Gettysburg. So yeah, how you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. This drink is weird though. I'm drinking a Tetris Blast G Fuel, and I don't know. Now I'm getting coconut, and I don't like it.
No.
Yeah.
I when I took a sip of it there, it was like
that's not good.
I don't know. It was like a weird gummy.
I mean, it's not. I don't know. I'm not gonna buy another one. Yeah, it's the Ghost of Gettysburg G Fuel. That's a G Fuel. It's Gettysburg fuel.
That's exactly what they were going for.
So we've all been to Gettysburg,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
I've been there a few times.
Yes, I have too.
I'll
I've been
say-
there on Halloween.
Oh wow!
So the
How about
night
it?
of the October 31st, I was there roaming around.
What better night to go?
Yes. And that's when it was the best for me. I mean, I still go back now, and I think it's more of a residual haunt.
I almost asked what makes Halloween more impressive for
Because
Gettysburg.
it's-
God damn
it's
it.
the thinnest of
the
the
veil.
veil.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I hate that
The
so
ghost and the
much.
demons are out.
Why?
It's so malarkey.
It's the
That's malarkey to you, but it's truth to many others.
The thinnest of the veil.
I can't believe you can't feel
well, the
it.
veil,
Can
if it
you-
exists, has to be thin. When's the thickest of the veil? Then that's a question. Christmas?
No.
That's a good question, right?
No.
Let's ask
No.
somebody. Let's get a
No, I would.
veilist on here.
It kind of goes.
What is the
It goes
the
back.
depth of the,
It
the
goes
veil?
back.
Yeah.
Listen, boys, it goes back to normal like 2 or 3 weeks after the date. So in traditional Celtic, I don't want to say shamanism, but Celtic
Mhm.
mythology or lore, the veil became thickest on the 31st. It started to thin after Mabon or autumn equinox, and I always could feel it. Even as a little girl, there was always something different about that time of year for me. I loved it. I hated going to school, but I love that time of year. And it's the thinnest on the 31st, but then it gradually works its way back to being thick. So around the second week in November, it's usually back to
Oh,
normal.
Wow, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I just think it's like what cultures you're influenced by.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because what if
other
like
ones-
in Chinese culture, the thinnest veil is like now.
well, let's say they had a Halloween that takes place in May
Yeah.
or something. You know.
Well, you got to think the southern hemisphere is opposite of us.
Well,
so when we are celebrating, like we just celebrated
right, then.
summer solstice, they were celebrating winter solstice.
Well, if Canada had a different day for everything spooky,
Spooky days.
that was not Halloween.
All right, moving on.
Anyway, I've been to Gettysburg. I've never seen anything.
yeah, me neither.
I've never felt anything. I've been on the battlefield.
I got
I've been
drunk.
I've been at Big Round Top, Little Round Top, Devil's Den,
Yeah,
Mhm.
we
Sachs
did-
Bridge.
Devil's Dead. We did a ghost tour.
Yeah, I was at a couple ghost. I mean, the ghost tours are always
on
interesting.
the main drag.
Yeah, the main stretch. And then if you do go to Gettysburg, go there early because everything closes about 5 o'clock.
Yes,
except for
there are
bars.
sundown towns. They
Yeah.
call them sundown towns. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go there early.
And go to Fourscore Brewery. It's fantastic.
Is
Yeah,
it the
they have-
one downtown and to the left?
Uh,
You're at the square. You're going down the main
all
road.
the way at the very end.
They have
Oh.
a nice little Irish pub
Riper
and
Appalachian Brewing. You know
No,
that
Appalachian. There's one that has like there's a
Yeah,
story
you
where live mannequins stand there.
Yeah.
You see that? Yeah, it's that past that.
yeah, and then like there's a huge like outdoor seating area. Then there's like a coffee house. Then there's Appalachian.
Oh,
Brewing,
okay.
and there's Fourscores up that way. And then there's like a restaurant we ate at. It's like a baseball themed restaurant.
Oh, I've never been there.
I never saw that one. I seen the
I-
Irish
I
pub
mean,
and
it's
then the Irish store too.
Yeah, it's a nice town. There's a candy store there called Sweet with 3 E's. And there's a
Oh, yeah,
comic book
yeah.
store 4 doors up. So I forget. What
We didn't stop at the comic book store. We went to the candy store.
It's small, but it's nice.
I
we
went
went-
to all the antique stores.
We
so
went
I'm
like
so out
in
of-
the midst, like in the middle of the pandemic, where we're starting to loosen up a little bit, but
Okay.
it was still like not.
Mhm.
It was like it was
Not
in a
loose.
weird
Yeah, I've
stage.
been there multiple years of my life. So I originally went there as a class group thing when I was in 5th grade. We were learning
Wow.
about the Civil War and we got to go. We were not allowed to buy any cannons, but I still came home with a cannon because I shoved it in my bag.
Say-
Wait, what?
What-
Yeah, the
what size
miniature
cannon?
cannon,
Oh.
the miniature cannons they sell.
No.
That's
See-
the one thing you couldn't buy.
That was the one thing you couldn't buy because it was considered like a weapon.
Don't buy a
Even though
bandana. Buy a
It
bandana
was
with
a
pot all you
cannon about
want.
the size of this hand sanitizer bottle. And yep, I bought it. I still bought it and threw it in my bag.
Oh,
Brought it
boy.
home. But yeah, that was the first one. That to me, I think as a little kid, you don't really understand the weight of it. I went back a couple times with my husband Sammy because Sammy's very into the Civil War. He knows
Oh.
all his dates, the way they formed. We watch Gettysburg every year on the actual anniversary of the date, which is in a few days here.
He would
And
get
if-
along well with Rich's brother. He's
Yeah,
super-
Richard's into that.
He's
Yeah.
really into it. Like when we went, he was like our tour guide.
Yeah.
He was like, this is what this happened. This is what this
He
happened.
likes that all U.S. history.
Yeah.
So Sammy could. That's I always say. That's his retirement project is gonna be
Like
one
a
of
tour
the
guide.
tour guide down there because
Yeah.
he actually there was one tour guide that we went on. We took the bus and he didn't know what he was doing and Sam like jumped in there and
That's awesome.
corrected him.
He's like Michael Scott. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna-
Oh yeah, definitely. I can't deal with this.
Yeah, and I took pictures and everything. I've been at the monument, Pennsylvania Monument,
Heidi just sent me.
around the Jenny Wade House. No,
Heidi just sent me something. It says PA bucket list website, and there's an Airbnb. I didn't know this was in Pennsylvania. This is crazy. Spend the night in the house made famous in the Silence of the Lambs movie. Buffalo Bill's house is in Pennsylvania.
I thought
okay.
it was in Ohio.
I thought so too, but no, it's in Pennsylvania.
Did the movie take place? I've never seen it. Does the movie take place in Pennsylvania?
I have no idea.
I can't
It's
remember.
been so long.
It's been so long. Yeah.
Well, we were supposed to get an Airbnb at Gettysburg
Mhm.
probably a year ago now. I don't know exactly date wise, but it was like fallish, I think. But we were going to get an Airbnb, and the whole podcast was going to go up and spend the night in the Airbnb. And it was like an old, like not old, but it's like a Boy Scouts house where it had like a huge game room basement and it had enough rooms to fit everybody.
Mhm.
And it was this huge thing. But the lady who was going to rent it to us, the lady who cleans it the day before we got it, cleaned the house, but then like that night tested positive for COVID.
Okay.
So everyone was kind of like, we should back out. We should back
Mhm.
out. So we all backed out of the trip, but we all still went.
Yeah.
But we just didn't
Didn't
spend
stay
the
over,
night
yeah.
in the
No.
Airbnb. But we were supposed to record a whole podcast in Gettysburg at this Airbnb and do all this stuff. But it all kind of fell through.
Oh well.
But it is getting nice out. And
So that's
We
one
are back
thing.
video wise. Sorry. Surface Electric has been just cutting out on people all
Oh,
Yes.
boy.
fucking week.
No, it has.
Like,
it's for me too.
yeah.
I hate it.
You know, I didn't have a problem when I had it years ago. Well, a year ago.
It's just recently.
And,
it just
but
cuts
now
out.
I don't miss it.
So there is some things you're gonna miss if you're listening to the video.
Yeah.
If you listen to the audio, you'll get it. We talked about really good stuff, so go check out that audio.
No, we're just talking about the Farnsworth. Were you ever in the Farnsworth house?
I don't.
You
I
can
don't-
tour it. It's also
It's
you
a
can
diner.
stay over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that with the toys?
No.
No.
Oh, that's the
That's the
children.
orphanage.
Okay, so it's across the street from the place that sells wine. And you can,
So
if
this
you
is-
look
this
across
is-
the street, the school is also behind it.
This is a
I don't remember.
standalone
Okay.
brick house that actually has bullet holes in it
Yeah.
from the Confederates or from the
No,
Civil
we
War.
didn't. There's
still.
like 4 or 5 locations we didn't do. We didn't do that. We didn't do the orphanage. We didn't do because, like I said, pandemic too. A lot of stuff wasn't open.
Yeah.
And there was another one that we were talking about. Some cemetery that like
the
some-
National Cemetery.
no, it's like a cemetery where
On the
Maybe-
battlefield?
maybe are in town where like a woman. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
no, that's like a pauper. Like I don't want to say a pauper cemetery, but yeah, it's in town. It's behind the Black Cat ghost tours. I know. 'Cause
Yeah.
we ended our
Oh,
tour
okay,
there.
yeah.
Something
yes.
really spooky.
They used to have a haunted house
Yes.
like with animatronics and stuff there, and they
Mhm.
shut it down. I don't know why. They did that
Yeah.
years ago. I'm like, it was
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
It was right next to you could go around. There's like a little museum.
Is the house
No.
you guys the house you're talking about? Is that the one where like someone shot a cannon shot or a bullet and it
No,
went, it
that's
shot?
not. No, the cannonball's still stuck in it.
No,
that what you're
where it
talking
like
about?
traveled like 14 blocks and hit this girl and
That's
now
Jenny Wade,
That's
yeah.
Jenny Wade. We just talked about
So,
that.
stop
From
it.
where their house
That's
is,
what they think. Because
you would have to shoot. Like
Yeah.
it goes down, and now it's called the Liberty Mart or like the
Yeah.
Gettysburg Mart. Where it's basically a Turkey Hill, or
Mhm.
a convenience store for the people that are around her.
Yeah.
It's like her house would be up and to the right,
Mhm.
so it's kind of possible. It would be a long shot nowadays with a good rifle.
Yeah.
So
What's
back then it'd
Sam
be
saying
almost
there?
impossible.
Sam just chimed in. Read whatever he
yeah,
says.
he
It's
knows a
probably
little bit
whatever.
more. I mean,
is
if we're
gonna be
off, he would
right.
know more.
The cemetery you're talking about is the one in town that actually has the graves of some African American soldiers because they
That's
weren't
right.
allowed to be buried. And then there's something with like a woman ghost that happens in that cemetery. I wish if
And it's the African Americans too. The African American ghost
Yeah.
too.
And there's many ghost stories.
Yeah.
The main ones in Gettysburg are always I seen a soldier, and it
Mhm.
turns out
But
it wasn't a reenactor.
Right.
It's like
it's
oh,
very much like that.
you know.
What was I going to say?
Sometimes it's a ghost horse that's a little
Right. Farnsworth House, you can actually go and eat at it. It's a diner.
yeah
or
on the
like a- like-
right, the left side.
right.
And there's
I
like
went
an
in and
outside
we
area.
ate there. That was pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, it was good food, and it was to me it was, and that was during my Halloween trip, so it was
Okay.
a little.
Now, when you take the tour, they will take in the basement and the funeral home.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, we did
it is
that tour.
decorated like
The-
a funeral.
The
so.
basement was the Confederate triage unit.
Okay, yeah.
So if you had a Confederate soldier that had a shot in his arm, the
They
lead
just
bullet
cut
in
it
his arm,
off.
that's what happened.
And
Leg and
with a
stuff.
very
Terrible saw. And
Yeah.
9 out of 10 of those, or I don't want to say 9 out of 10, but like maybe 8 out of 10 of those guys died of infection.
yeah because
then.
they're just cutting like
Yeah, there was no
very-
sterilization
what's
or
that-
anything back then.
what's that word?
And it was basically taking a saw and just
Yeah.
cutting and getting that
Uncouth,
tourniquet
no,
and
yeah.
turning
Ugh.
it. Ugh, no.
Don't they use like
It's
leeches and
barbaric.
stuff too?
Yeah, they would.
That was for different blood diseases
Yeah.
and stuff. They thought bloodletting would be better, but that wasn't for the Civil War that I know of. It was more just cut your limbs and stuff off.
But also in the
That's how they
Farnsworth
treat
house, they will take you up into the attic where they
Yeah, there's supposedly
A little
ghost- a boy
Yeah.
that got hit by got kicked by a horse outside or something.
yeah, something like
That's what
that.
the guy
And then
told
he
us.
tells you stories in the attic, and there's a little door you have to
See,
like.
they didn't take us through the house because
Oh,
pandemic.
okay, yeah,
So
when
we
I
just
was-
stayed in the basement.
This was years ago.
Yeah, we stayed in the basement. He told us the story in the basement. Then he told us that there's a spirit that walks around the house,
Mhm.
and that this lady kept having someone sit on the bed while she's sleeping.
Okay,
in that
yeah,
place.
yeah.
And then he walked us up the street to like a courthouse or something where this woman would bring fresh bread from a bakery
Mhm.
to
That
the
was-
soldiers.
Might have been Jenny Wade. See, because here's the thing: Jenny Wade was not her house really either. The house she was shot in was not hers. It was her sister's. She was there because her sister just gave birth and she was helping her sister. So during this time, they were just wrong place, wrong time, basically. So all these soldiers and stuff would be camped out around her at this house. So instead of just sitting doing nothing, Jenny thought it would be nice to make bread for the Union soldiers. So she would bring bread for the Union soldiers all the time. And then she ended up getting shot in the kitchen, I believe.
Yeah. And then we
So-
went up around to these other 2 buildings. One of them you sent the picture of. I took photos of it too. It's like a red building, and then there's like a white, like a like a beige looking building.
Did you upload any of those pictures?
No, I was the one that just sent in the chat. I was just kind of showing you the stuff that we took when we were there.
No, but did you upload any of the ones I sent?
Yeah,
you?
they're all uploaded.
So if you wanted to pop up the Jenny Wade one, we'll talk about Jenny
Okay.
a little bit. Go ahead.
I just want to go back. So when we were in the attic of
is this Jenny Wade?
yes, in the Farnsworth house, they sit you down. You got to go like through like a small door, right?
Yeah.
And there's a window and there's a door in the back. We were there. It was like 6, 7 of us, and the only thing we seen is when he's talking, the door just goes. Wah. No, that could have been air.
Yeah,
Could have been nothing. I didn't say. Oh, that's a ghost.
So that was the Farnsworth house.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, hello," the little boy's name or whatever. And the only person that said they felt anything was Mish's friend Amber.
Yeah.
And she's like, I felt like someone was tugging on my legs or something, like her pants. And then the guy's like, if anything happens, stop the tour. I'll stop it. Tell me. And I want to talk about it. He's like, tell me immediately when it happens.
Yeah.
And then she didn't. And at the end, she told me, he goes, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah. Wasn't there a situation too, or maybe, I don't know if you were with them, Andy and Rich, because they go all the time.
Yeah, they've been
Well,
many
there's
times.
like a sniper spot.
That's
up in the
right.
That's
attic.
where we were.
That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I originally said.
And then
the
he
the
said-
attic of the Farnsworth house was the Confederate sniper unit, and that's
Yeah.
what they thought killed Jenny. But that's also a ghost there too. That they think the sniper still roams there too.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Why would the sniper stay there? Unless he died there. Yeah, the boy.
They were literally just stacking. Like a guy would get shot, a sniper, and they would just throw
Well, yeah,
his body on the
so
pile.
anybody could have
Yes.
been. Could have been a nurse sniper. Never even took a shot
So
there.
in that Jenny Wade picture too, that was my own picture from the Halloween night, my excursion on Halloween night, and there is an orb actually above.
Right
her
above that
head.
statue's
Oh
head.
yeah. We can't. zoom
Where
out,
are the
of course.
bullet holes? Like around the corner?
That's not the Farnsworth. So there might be a bullet hole right above that one window.
Yeah, I think there was one on.
There
her.
was one or so.
Yeah. The one with the tour is the whole side of the building is.
Yeah, and you could get to an alleyway. That
And
goes
there's
up the
one
main street.
building that's in town that has a cannonball still lodged in it.
I've never seen that. So I
Yeah.
have to go and see that.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So
cool.
that was
So-
I learned that on a carriage ride. So if you ever do go to Gettysburg and they still have the carriage rides, take them. They're actually really nice.
So where do you stand on orbs? Are you like, is that evidence for you in a photo?
not so much for me. That could be many things.
There's
unless the orb-
differentials.
Produces light and makes it go away and then brings the light back, because that's kind of hard for
Mhm.
dust to do. Okay,
Yeah.
glint of light, but if it goes wow, wow,
Sometimes I think it
Or if it's
depends on
different
how
color.
it's formed. Yeah.
and it does this, like where it looks like there might be intelligence. I'm
Mhm.
motioning my
Like
hand
almost
away.
like a UFO.
But if it
type.
does like dust,
Yeah.
like, just goes
Or
across the
bug.
screen.
It could be dust or bug sometimes. But
Just
for
asking.
that one, I took multiple pictures, and that was the only one that had the orb. So there was no other dust or anything in that picture, or the multiple pictures I did take.
I was
So
just taking
took that as
pictures
an
of
orb.
windows and hoping that something creepy was in the window.
Well,
Oh yeah,
the
why
other-
wouldn't I take pictures of everything when you
Yeah.
The
go.
other thing there that face thing I caught,
And
that
the
was in one
smoke,
of
yeah,
those.
I like that
was
one.
one of the things I caught. Did you upload that
yeah,
one?
I had no idea what I was looking at.
To me,
That's
it looks
that's a
like-
So
face?
that was the same shot in the Jenny. That's the same shot you just seen before, but that's what I caught.
So if you zoom in on that, right in the middle there, it
It's a
looks like a
face.
skull with cheesecloth on it.
yes,
Like you can see the eyes and the nose, but like not a nose, like a hole, like a skull.
Yeah.
Now, there is I don't know the terminology for it, but there is a thing that the human brain does when you look at something you
Yeah.
don't understand. Your brain tries to assimilate something you're used to.
Tries to
and
make sense of it.
9 times out of 10, your brain will produce a face.
Yeah,
And once one person sees it, they say, I see a face here.
yeah.
It's like almost like an illusion. Like
I mean,
you're,
it does look like it's like, but it's
Yeah.
like looking at the moon. Like I'm not saying that
Mhm.
is what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. You know, the moon
well,
kind of looks
that's what
like a
I
face,
saw
but-
out of it. So I mean, there's two different sides of the story. You can believe or you don't need to believe.
I mean, it could also be a cheese doodle. I mean,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
so this goes to this weird Pennsylvania book. There's a little article that sums up Gettysburg. I'm just gonna read the first paragraph
Go ahead.
to
Yeah.
give people a little what's that word called? Not perception. I don't know.
yeah,
Like info on it. So between July 1st and July 3rd of 1863, more blood was shed in a formerly little-known Adams County farm community than any battle in history.
And that's the one at Schrute Farms.
Yeah, Shoot Farms. That's totally in Scranton and not California.
It was the most northern battle. Of,
yeah. It's like
And it ended up being like a gay brothel
yeah,
in the show.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it turned out to be?
yeah.
And what are you talking about? I have no clue.
The
The
Office.
Oh,
The Office.
So the deaths on the battlefield of Gettysburg numbered 7,500, and probably a tenth of the wounded died later.
yeah, and there was 51,000 wounded.
Yeah, with around 10,000 men down in a few horrific days, it's hardly surprising Gettysburg has its fair share of ghost stories. But oddly enough, and then he gives one story, and then talks about a story of before the war, there was like a ghost woman that showed Union soldiers where to go. It's like, why was there already? So they're always saying there was a ghost before there was anyone battle.
Yep, I have a ghost story before before it started too.
Because it's no, I don't know. Maybe you have the map with the ley lines. Is Gettysburg on a ley line? Or is there a heavy quartz thing to make some science?
See, I always believe with the quartz thing, the limestone. They say the limestone, like even Devil's Den is made out of high limestone count. Like, and if you were to look at a sedentary, like the ground of Gettysburg, it's like dirt, and then the limestone is like this thick. It's like, I don't know what you want to say, feet thick, like a couple feet thick. You know, it's hard ground. So when they were digging trenches and stuff, it was hard for them to even dig into, or even dig to put bodies in. What was I gonna say here now? I'm off track.
Ley lines and
ley lines and stuff. I honestly think more or less there's lots of different theories with this, that why they stay there, why they're there still. I think it was just so tragic. It was so traumatic. It was so violent that it just stayed there. It's that the memory of it all stayed there, and it'll take years for it to pass out.
Record it.
Okay. Correct. I think there's a few intelligent haunts there, but I think mostly it's repeat over and over and over and over and over.
That makes sense.
I do. That's what I think, because it was so traumatic. They died in such a bloody, violent way.
And it's 1863, so there's not much medical science there.
No.
Yeah.
And there's 20 bodies. Imagine the blood from 20 bodies.
Okay, on top of that, you're
in one area. That's a lot of blood.
July 1863. July, well, they were in like 93-degree heat. I can remember them saying. And they were in wool suits.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say wool suits.
Wool suits, man. I mean,
smell.
It was
some of the battlefield people drowned in blood.
Yeah,
there was that much blood on the battlefields.
Yeah, well, imagine. Okay, now there's 100 bodies
in the Death Valley area, right by Devil's Den,
and then it would like seep in the ground, and then it would come back up. Because it would rain and
do you have any more to read there?
So they have the story of this lady and the white horse. That's why there's a lot of ghost horses.
So now, okay, who saw them? Go ahead, keep going.
This is actually after. So although the Confederates were ultimately defeated on July 3rd, 1863, the Union soldiers were actually in trouble at one point. The 20th Maine Division had arrived to reinforce the flagging troops, but they had no idea where to go. The story goes that a striking figure in an old-fashioned uniform appeared on a white horse and led them to Little Round Top, a strategic point that enables them to rout a flank of Confederates and ultimately win the battle. The soldiers insisted that the glowing apparition they followed bore an uncanny resemblance to George Washington.
That's the one I had. Yep.
There's no denying this story reeks of propaganda. It's only one step away from the old claim that God is on our side. But nonetheless, the story has a remarkable long life. That's from the Weird PA book.
Yeah.
God only likes the winning side.
But here, it goes on nowadays. If you visit the National Military Park on a clear summer night, you will sometimes see fog creeping in and surrounding the fields. Can't just be natural weather or anything. Where so many people fell. Fog always brings an eerie sensation with it. And such ground mists are not unusual for this kind of topography. Big word there. But what's inside the fog is a little more unusual. Lights flash off and on, appearing to advance along the same path that the Confederates had taken to Little Round Top, which is weird. They didn't have any lights. They had torches. They didn't have flashlights back then. Where was I at there?
Well, could the lights be, here's the thing, can the lights be ghosts coming now?
Maybe.
Apparitions. Because in a lot of those ghost videos and stuff, and I know Tony thinks they're fake. So you could see a light flash and then you see them walk across the thing. And then the light flash,
you know what they could be?
See them walk across.
They could be people like Sam in 100 years who love Gettysburg so much.
They die and want to go there.
That when he dies, he just stays. And then
maybe
forever, everyone thinks Sam's a Gettysburg ghost, but he was just a historian.
Yeah, you could have died in the 70s.
And it's just some dude with a flashlight like, this is where it happened. Yeah. I'm the ghost. Why can't it be that?
It gets better. Although it's hard to see anything.
If you're attached to a memory, why wouldn't you go back to it?
I guess if you can.
And how many? It's been like 100 some years, hundreds of years,
200.
Yeah. So some of those.
If I had a choice, I'd go back. And if I couldn't pass on, I'd be going back to down home, down on the farm, down up in the bush where
That's where you would haunt if you died and you could haunt.
There's nobody to hunt. It's trees, but I'd be happy.
What if 90% of the ghosts that we see
are
people who are interactors who just dedicated their lives to telling the history of Gettysburg? So we're actually seeing.
I think you're getting it full of yourself now.
No, but
Why can't that be believable?
Yeah, what if a reenactor
So
had
what
a
if-
heart attack on the field?
Exactly.
That
He could
maybe.
technically.
Yeah,
Or he-
technically.
He could have died at home in a
But
hospital.
when you see these mass like regiments and stuff appearing and then reappearing and then disappearing,
I don't know if we're getting full like Lord of the Rings, the army of ghosts showing up.
yeah,
People are
that's
seeing thousands of ghosts at
not-
one time.
There are hundreds of ghosts. I've heard that. And
that's-
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But,
Just like Lord of the Rings, they all just march up
Yeah.
the.
That's
See,
what they say.
I like to think where you die is your limit to haunt where you die,
No, that's not.
or where you lived,
It goes where you're
because
most,
your connection.
Your
there.
most.
Like
your
I
most
can't go
prized
haunt a place I was at
We
one time.
truly don't know. Andy, keep going on with your
You
story.
know, that's
It
what I'm.
is.
That's what I'm saying. That's my rules. Anyway.
Every ghost is every 90% of the ghosts are reenactors who just
Yeah.
love that place so much.
So we're talking about Through the Fog here at Little Round Top. Although it's hard to see anything in those conditions, these riders are often reported as being headless. Though this may be due to an overreactive imagination fired by too many readings of Sleepy Hollow legend. But far and away, the most common ghostly phenomenon at Gettysburg concerns cameras. There were many photographs. I can't tell. I always say photos. So photos taken during the battle, but it seems nowadays an unusual number of cameras malfunction on the field. I've never experienced that. Visitors often experience a chill when this happens, maybe because of the weather, maybe from a sudden supernatural fear, or perhaps from the presence of something not of this world. And they do show a dead body here in front of, I forget what that's called.
Is that Devil's
Devil's
Den?
Den.
That's Devil's Den right there. And then I know Rich took a picture one time. Every time she goes, she takes a picture there. I took a picture there. Nothing.
Did she get anything?
I don't believe so.
No.
There's a
So
photo we
this-
took where Rish is like inside this little tiny rock she could fit in.
Ah,
She's tiny.
Yeah.
So for people who know this photo is actually pretty common and popular. So that was a staged photo. So when the photographers actually came to Gettysburg after the battle had happened, most
You're
of the
never gonna see
bodies
that.
actually were already starting to get stacked and buried in mass graves. So this body in Devil's Den was actually placed by the photographer to get that impression of the war.
I mean, he probably died somewhere around there.
Yeah,
You know, so
probably.
it's not like he died in Shippensburg and they brought him over.
Yeah. So
It was the ghost of the reenactor who was laying there.
No,
Pretending
that
to be a
photo
ghost.
was taken
that
back
was
in
in
the day.
1863. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of those
There wasn't no reenactors yet.
pop. Yeah,
Where you got to get under the thing.
yeah.
It takes 30 minutes to take
And
a
the
picture.
flash bulb goes off. Yeah,
Get
And-
that
and
body over there.
And nobody smiles.
yeah,
Everyone looks miserable.
Yeah, you're not allowed to smile. It's a rule back then.
yeah.
That's how
So
you-
Taking a picture, look miserable. Well, I guess if you had to stand there for 30 minutes.
That's how the demons get you if you smile.
No, the Native Americans believe that the cameras years ago
there are different.
would take your essence
take
of
your
being.
soul.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
your soul. if
There's
you
the
took a
Amish
picture.
believe that too. If you
Really?
take
Wow.
their picture in Lancaster, whatever, wherever you see Amish people, they think it's their
Amish
soul.
country.
There are other theories too on why Gettysburg is the way it is, between the limestone, the violence that took place there. A lot of it, some people think too, because it was a mainly Christian ideology back then, that people were too afraid to cross in fear of judgment because they were killing their fellow human, their fellow man.
Well, at least the good thing about this war is that everyone learned their lesson and everyone gets along now, and we have no division in our country
Yeah.
about anything.
Well, hey, we never had a war in our own country at this level.
Yeah.
So there,
What I'm saying
Again,
is, like,
I hope
again,
it doesn't get to this
I was
again,
like- I
because
was-
this was terrible.
Yeah. A good thing we had a war in our country about civil rights, and not keeping people under.
and the one side that almost won was the one keeping people.
Yeah. And good thing no one flies those flags.
Hey, if the Union did not win, all jokes aside, if the Union did not win Gettysburg, we could be living in a whole different country right now.
I mean,
We might be
we're
just
still kind of there.
No.
no.
Slavery isn't legal.
No.
I mean, it kind of is.
No, it's not.
They just took him out of slavery and just
All
put him in
right.
prison.
cross paths here, boys. We're
no.
talking about ghosts. I don't want to talk
Yeah,
about politics
yeah.
tonight.
I mean, that's
Sorry.
literally what happened. Is after the war happened, they just found a way to imprison more people.
I know, but if you went
Yeah.
to have a farm right now and have slaves.
Oh no, you couldn't do that.
Yes.
but
So,
you would just get people who are not from the country and
but that's not legal either.
charge. Yeah.
So
So let's get back to some ghosts, because I'm not in the mood to talk politics here. But the reason why the Confederates were coming up, they were coming up from Carlisle for shoes. because they had no shoes. Most of their boys didn't have shoes anymore.
Imagine if you
They're-
walked from down south.
Yeah, walk from down south, no shoes. You're
That's
coming
a
in
far
barefoot.
haul, a couple states.
So
You gotta
they
go
were-
through Virginia's. I don't know if
they
you
were
ever drove
trying-
through Virginia. It's long.
Yeah, they were trying to get to Gettysburg or to Harrisburg. I'm sorry, for shoes because that had a shoe factory. It was
And
the
probably that was
closest
the
shoe
state
factory.
capital, so
Yeah.
to take over Harrisburg, they
That's
basically
right.
got
So
Pennsylvania.
Lee thought if I could get one good win on northern soil and take over one big city in northern soil, this would be done. And mind you, it probably would have because Lee was kicking ass and taking
I
names
think how
before
far
then.
up north Pennsylvania is.
This was the big downfall. Gettysburg was the downfall of the Confederacy. So and the half of it you gotta thank God or whatever thing above you believe in, because Lee the night before the battle took a heart attack, and that's what was blamed for his poor decisions in battle the next 3 days over July 1st,
I
2nd,
didn't
and
know
3rd.
that. So he
Yeah.
was like
So he took a
not
heart
of a sound mind and body.
he was not of sound mind and body, because if he told General Ewell to take the high ground if possible. Well, Ewell went out there and apparently was a pussy and didn't take the high ground. If they would have got the high ground, all over, because that's what happened. The Union got the high ground. Chamberlain got the high ground.
in the Devil's Den.
That's like Little Round Top and
Okay.
the bush up above.
Because I know I've been up in that lookout where that
Yeah,
guy
so
rubbed
'cause that
guy's
was like
nose.
shooting.
Yeah.
That's like shooting turkeys in a barrel.
Oh yeah, when you're up there and they have like a little
Mhm.
There's like
castle
there's
thing.
like a
Mhm.
But that wasn't there.
That's
But I mean,
where-
if you were just there on a
So
rock, I could just.
That's where the main. I don't remember the number of the main regiment was. See, we actually had Schuylkill County had a regiment there too. That was in the beach field.
there's a statue.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania
Yeah.
Monument. Is
So
that what
that's
it's called?
on Wheatfield Road,
There's
and
a school county monument.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a-
It's a
it's
sniper laying down.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's that one, but there's a whole big one, and it has like all the names of
Yeah.
everyone. There's
Yeah.
people from Pottsville.
that's true. And it was the one laying down with the sniper is the 93rd, I think, the 93rd or 96th regiment, and they were stationed right in the Peach Field, which is right in all of the action and the violence. So
Well, I mean, also with any war, the further you progress and the more troops you lose, you're gonna lose your numbers as you progress throughout a war.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially
So I'm not saying
traveling hundreds of
I'm
miles.
not saying if they would have won Gettysburg, it would have been completely over. Because I mean, you still have to go through some pretty big. You have to go to Harrisburg,
yeah, but
Philly.
but
yeah,
at that time the Union and the Northern people were just fed up with this war. They were ready to end. Like one more big blow, Gettysburg. If they would have won Gettysburg, I believe it would have been done. And a lot of historians believe the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they would have got Pennsylvania in general.
Yeah, boom,
Yeah.
over.
It'd been interesting.
So-
But moving up further through your thing, you're obviously like when Germany tried to take Russia. The further they got up through Russia, it was just like they're just putting too many troops in too many
Yeah, they're
spots.
too spread out, and they're
Yeah.
they just can't handle anymore.
Yeah, if you're going to be the
It's like growing
attacking,
too fast.
if you're going to be the attacking person in a war, the odds are not your favor.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to take on back then. It's not like
Mhm.
they had tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's just dudes walking
Or even in
horses.
anything. Like when we went over to like Vietnam, we were the attackers going on someone else's soil. We knew all like I mean, it just statistically, it's not in your favor when you're the aggressor.
Yeah.
No, but they were the aggressor. They moved up and they were doing
Yeah.
damn good.
I'd say if you
So-
leave like Alabama and Georgia and you make it to Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The other thing that took the Union or the Confederacy down was that they didn't have a lot of like they had like produce and cotton and stuff, but they didn't have the machinery in the factories to actually make the clothes, make the shoes, make the kind of stuff like that. You know what I mean? To
Mhm.
produce that, make the gunpowder. I believe the Union had most of like the gunpowder and like
Most of the
ammunition.
industrialism was all in the north.
was in the north. That was the only stronghold they really had. Getting back to ghost stories though.
Because we progressed to industrialism and used
Mhm,
machines,
mhm.
where the South was still using manpower.
just
With
a little
some-
behind.
They were a little behind,
had
but they
some
were
places.
they were the biggest producer of cotton. That was their big thing. They
Mhm.
produced the cotton for all the wool, the whatever, and that even went overseas. There was actually different countries that were thinking about siding with the Confederacy.
probably
I-
France. Fuck that.
I don't know if it was France. It was actually I think England.
Yeah, England's
England.
probably.
I think England.
Sneak back in
They
there.
were still mad about
England.
the
We'll
Tea
sneak
Party.
back in there, team up with those
Yeah.
dumb Southerners, and then
So-
once they have it, we'll kill those Southerners, and then we'll take it all back over again. It'll be our land.
New England.
Yes. Getting back to ghost stories, though, one of the most hot spots in the area is by the field that they made for Remember the Titans or the school there. That's where a group of soldiers called the Louisiana Tigers, and they're infamous for their violence.
Looking at this map in the back of the book here,
Yeah.
it looks like Culp's Farm. It's a little between that and the town, so like
Mhm.
number 10. So they don't have it like Baltimore Street. Like kind of near there, but like back behind
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, back behind it. And I caught a lot of orbs here. But what was taught to me was when they were actually digging to make that football field for Remember the Titans, the movie, they actually came across a big mass grave of all these people that they had to go in and rebury different places then, because this was just thousands of people just buried there.
Yeah.
Great quote. From the
So,
movie.
and that was rumored to be where the Louisiana Tigers are camped out. Now, the Louisiana Tigers were this vicious, ruthless Southern brigade that in the beginning, they started off as civilized gentlemen, but as the war ran on, they had nobody. They were starting to dig from their jails, their system. So they took all the Louisiana Tigers became all the murderers, the
It's a
rapists.
Suicide Squad.
Basically, they were the bad
Yeah.
boys, the murderers, the rapists. So if you gave them a gun, that's what it was. They went down to them and said, "Hey, do you want to fight for us? You can earn your freedom if you fight for us." I'm sure all
Who
those
would say
guys are
no?
like, "Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I get to do what I want," you know. So the Louisiana Tigers, they camped out there, and they were notorious. Like I said, they were hard drinkers. They'd play poker on stacked up dead bodies. They'd be playing poker and all different kind of games of chance and stuff on them. They were nasty, nasty people, but they were camped out there. They were camped out there. There's an orb picture I have of that too by a tree that was around where the Louisiana Tigers were too. So I caught an orb there, and I caught a few floating orbs within the field too.
If you look to the bottom right,
Yes, bottom right there.
there's a little.
Yeah, little spot.
I like that.
So
That's
that,
a nice picture.
That one's also within that area too.
It looks like a metal album. Like it's a.
So that they consider that ectoplasm.
Oh, really? I just thought that was the
Mhm.
sky.
No, that's fog or ectoplasm, like something trying to come forth.
Materialize,
Mhm.
corporalize.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They say if you put your arm through ectoplasm, it feels like spiderwebs. That's what they say.
Yeah, I could believe it.
I always picture
Well,
like,
they
I
say
want slime. That's what I want.
in the metaphysical world, they say that energy is like spider webs, like too, like whatever you touch and stuff, you create different spider webs.
I just
in
watched this
connection
thing
to.
on when they used to have the old seance photos,
Okay.
and they used to have like the
Yeah, ectoplasm come out of their mouth.
yeah,
Oh boy.
and they
Mhm.
showed how they
That was
possibly
that
faked
was
it.
Blow smoke.
that was around this era. A lot of
It was cotton.
Oh.
Yeah.
a lot of the Victorian women are into it.
yeah.
Hmm.
They'd have,
So
like, this- it was I forget what I watched it on. I think it was on Paramount. I had Paramount or something like that. Has
I've
a lot
never heard that before.
of what?
That it was cotton.
Yeah.
Never
Never.
heard
Yeah.
that. No.
Okay, because they said smoke wouldn't capture the same it would like back then as it would today on modern cameras, but they would use some type of filament to get that effect.
That makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I think Halloween decoration spiderwebs.
Kind of. Yeah.
Fair amount.
Yeah.
So these Louisiana Tigers too, they say you can still see them once in a while charging East Cemetery Hill against the Union Cannoneers. The Union cannons were at the top of the East Cemetery Hill, and you can still see them charging up and trying to take over the cannons. So that's one of the ghost stories that are told.
Good
by-
luck. Even if you're a real tough guy.
They almost did, because they came in with their baronets on. They were bad. They
but I mean,
they didn't give a shit.
If I have a cannon, I know I only got one shot.
Well, you
Here
only
comes
got,
a bunch of dudes.
right. Well, a bunch of dudes could go left.
I know,
zigs
but
instead of
but like
zag.
if they're running like it's old time war, so like they're not like you're like it's bowling.
Yeah.
It's basically
bowling. Well, basically, but they almost
But
did.
you get
They
that
had
one
a-
shot, you're like,
yeah.
They had a call.
fuck,
for
hurry up.
That's when you pull out your two
They had a
two
call
long
for
rifles.
reinforcements. They had a call for reinforcements. That's the only way they got the Louisiana Tigers to back down.
Yeah, that's why they had swords and stuff, because you really only had one shot.
Yeah.
in the thick of
Mhm.
things.
You
Unless
had-
you had
you
a
had-
pistol. I think maybe there was a pepper box at the time, which would
Yeah.
allow you up to 4,
Yeah,
possibly
pepper
6,
boxes were there.
if you had a real fancy one.
Pepper boxes were good. What else?
I don't think there was
you
the
had,
repeater.
you had a couple, right? You had to stuff your muzzle loader, but then you also had the bayonet that went on.
Yeah,
on
but I
the
mean,
muzzle
maybe Sam,
loader.
what was the average reload time? Like,
oh god,
maybe
It
Sam
was like
knows.
4
4
minutes.
yeah.
About 4
Imagine
minutes.
this.
4 minutes.
Here's your gun. You
Yeah.
take it. You hold up. You put your
Think of
little
the time
pellet in.
frame we're in.
Put your gunpowder in, and
I think they would knock it down a little less than 4 minutes.
To get your stuff out, you have to get your lead bullet, your gunpowder. Take
But
your
I feel like
gunpowder, put in
like
there.
today's time.
yeah, because it
obviously-
wasn't like 1, 2, 3 like drop.
Yeah,
it
but I
in.
mean, if
not
so, like-
now, but technology at the time.
Yeah, I get technology at the time, but still, if that's your only means
Mhm.
of shooting and getting it done, I'm not saying they were as instantaneously as technology today, but I feel like you eventually
you
get good
you
at
get a
something.
rhythm. You
yeah.
get
You
a
would,
rhythm
but I
of
mean,
it.
there's only so fast you
You
could
can go.
I
yeah.
would see. I would them.
If you
I'd
got
give
a-
each shoulder,
you got a-
soldier 2 rifles.
I
so
believe-
each have 2 shots.
And Sam would have been good at knowing this, and so would have another reenactor I know, Rick. So you would have
Oh.
to
So he said 3 minutes.
3 minutes. I was 1 minute off.
Which
Yeah.
imagine someone's coming at you. 3 minutes is forever.
So 3 minutes if you were really good. They had repeating rifles and 6-shot revolvers
really?
for the
Wow.
for the officers at the time, but they were just coming of
Okay.
age.
So they're probably hard to get,
Yeah.
probably very expensive.
yeah. So then some of the officers and stuff had the sabers too. Not every private had a
Yeah,
saber.
and they all should have because
They all,
that
but
always
they're considered their bayonets.
Okay.
Because they had the bayonet.
I mean, I'm sure they
had the bayonet.
they had knives, you know.
Yeah. So, the Phantom Regiment, and this is a lot of people always talk about seeing Phantom regiments there. So there are people. There was a big reenactment done a couple years ago, and people were on their walk, I guess. And I could tell you the shops and stuff that are around there. I know that the Gettysburg, or the
Emporium.
no, it was the Irish shop, and what was the ghost walk we were just talking about?
Black Cat.
Yeah, the Black Cat ghost walk.
Right there.
Right there. So then,
right
then you
here.
look right across the left hand and see a field. They saw a big regiment floating down the hill. So
Franklin Street area.
yeah,
Wow, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Like
I would too. I never saw it.
no one take.
I never
picture?
saw it.
No. I guess they always say people are so in the
They
moment.
thought they were reenactors until
Oh.
they disappeared. They thought it was a reenactment happening until they
Oh, okay.
disappeared. They disappeared right into thin air.
There was a video that just
But
at
that makes me think
BuzzFeed, like it
it's
made the
all-
rounds. On
Oh,
the
that guy
major-
walks across the
like
dirt
by the
road.
cannons, where all the cannons are on the side of the
I
road.
sent you that, and you said it looked
Yeah.
fake.
No, the one you sent me is on a path.
It's on the end of that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that far.
See, I
through
think
it.
that one.
Oh, I didn't see the. I thought it was
I
just
could
that
play
one.
it real quick.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
I like that one.
I might have lost
Nowadays, with Photoshop, you could do many.
Yeah,
the first video here.
he thinks it's fake.
I think
I don't
it's
know.
100%.
I can see people dazed and confused after a big battle keep walking forever.
I mean,
are the rewind.
Yeah, if ghosts are
Rewind.
So
like-
obviously,
Real.
if you are watching on
Give some
if your audio, obviously you're gonna miss out on this. But you're seeing here is, hold on, let me.
it's a road, but it's not a paved road.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like you see tire marks, and there's high grass on each side,
Get this out of here.
and there's almost like a figure that walks from the right to the
Mhm.
left across.
There's
Yeah.
quite a few figures that go.
But it's very.
I think that's a loop. I don't think that's two different figures walking. I think they loop this video so you can see it twice. But you just see a figure walk across the road.
they're
Right.
very.
Sometimes you can see a flash though too. That's what I was wondering. I don't know in the left or the right
Yeah.
hand there. you
So
can
like,
see
I don't think that's a
flash.
second figure walking. I think that's just
Oh, the
it's-
video is looped.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
There's a flash that was right there.
Now the figures are very high contrast, and they're yellowish, which I'm
like
like.
a tan almost.
I mean, not that there's a rule of what
Mhm.
color a ghost should be, but it looks a little.
oh,
off.
here it is.
This is it.
Oh yeah, this one was from
See,
a couple years ago.
is
This
it-
guy's running.
Yes, this guy's running around the cannons, and you're not supposed to actually drive around the battlefield at dark.
No, they
Actually
tell you
against
not,
the
not-
law.
Yeah,
Yes, it's against the law. So I don't know if this was a worker or was this somebody breaking the law.
but that guy's moving abnormally fast.
Yeah, if you slow that down, you
it
actually
looks
see
like
it move.
water.
Yeah, that
looks like the
one actually
rain.
made like some major.
Yeah, that did,
headline
yeah.
news,
Yeah. That it also, I also thought maybe it was like the raindrops going across the windshield because his windshield's wipers were also going. So maybe did it actually just look like a little bit of raindrop?
Yeah, or like a bug or something.
He also
Yeah.
said you'd need 2 front teeth on the top and 1 on the bottoms to be an infantryman
I wonder-
to bite your bullet.
Yep.
Oh,
They
wow.
were sealed with wax, and that's going to tie into a story. Well, I might as well just tell it now. We're kind of all.
But it didn't have a little like a cigar opening tool for guys that didn't have teeth, because you got to think dentists were
Yeah,
probably
but-
archaic.
but it
back
would
then.
also
Well,
would've-
dentists
it-
were the surgeons.
It
and
would
the
have it would have added more time to your
barbers.
shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, dentists were the surgeons and the or the barbers also.
Man,
they were all
that
3.
6-shooter, you were like the king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex. you know,
Jonah
Jonah Hill.
Hex, yeah.
Jonah Hill. Yeah.
But during the filming of the movie, so in the early 1990s, I think I want to say 94, 95, Ted Turner was really infatuated with Civil
WCW.
War.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh.
And no.
Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, that too. And he was really infatuated with the Civil War, and he funded this movie on Gettysburg. That was like his passion project.
Appropriately titled Gettysburg.
It was Gettysburg, yes. And that was the only
Gettysburg
movie.
Nitro.
Yeah, the Gettysburg the movie.
It was the only movie to actually be filmed on the battlefields.
Oh,
People actually
wow.
filmed on the battlefield. So yes, there were actors like Sam Elliott was in it. Who plays Lee? Oh my God.
I can't help you. I vaguely remember this because this movie was big in like what 91.
Yeah, the early
Around then,
90s. It was
yeah.
a made-for-TV movie.
Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
TNT showed it. It was like over the course of 2 or 3 days around the time of Gettysburg. But yeah, there was major actors in it, but they included a lot of reenactors that volunteered to do this.
Yeah, they would.
They
would
love
love
to
it.
do this. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they
but like
did.
going to a cosplay. Would you like to
Right.
be the next Marvel movie? Of course.
Right. So these guys were
It could be a
excited.
stormtrooper in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah, the people nerds would lose their mind.
Minds. Well, these guys did lose their minds. They loved it. They got to actually camp out in the battlefields overnight for these couple these
Which
days that they
They
filmed.
do nowadays.
Yeah. So there was these two. I don't know if they were dressed reenactment. I'm not sure if they were Confederate or Union anymore. But they came upon this guy going through his bullets, and the guy said to them, "Oh, how you doing?" And stuff. They made like little small talk, and then all of a sudden the guy said, "Well, here, you guys might need these rounds today," and handed them these 2 rounds, and then walked off into the bush and disappeared. Here, the 2 rounds were live ammunition, and when you reenact, there was no live ammunition there, and they were still sealed with the wax. So that's when he's talking about you need your 2 front teeth to bite the wax
Yeah.
off.
Now that how does a ghost make something corporeal?
Physical,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like or did they take this object through time, or did they take it from wherever it was and give it to this? That's
Yeah, the 2 shots were
Yeah.
legit. They were
Now,
legit from that time.
I
That's what they
can
said.
buy
Martin
into-
Sheen.
Now, how much of
was,
the story is true and
General
how much is
Robert
not?
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Yeah, he was.
I can buy into the fact like a ghost, like you're walking down the street, right? Like say you're walking down Times Square
Mhm.
and you just make eye contact with like thousands of people. Like what are the chances one of those people are not actually with us?
Yeah.
Like I can buy into that more
Mhm.
than like I don't know. I don't like
that. Yeah, and then the next story about the filming set, because like I said, they all stayed on the battlefield in encampments that looked true to the year, true to the form, true to the era.
They had billionaire Ted's money.
They had billionaire Ted's money, and these guys were overjoyed to do this for free. And I don't blame them. If I got the chance to do something like that, I would
remember
too.
it being a big deal.
It was
you mean a guy who
huge.
ran a wrestling company had free workers?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Well, he owned TBS, TNT. His wife was Jane Fonda.
You guys are independent
Yeah, yeah.
contractors.
And that's like my
Jane Fonda is not very well liked in our household.
yeah.
so-
I
Who?
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. She was like a real left wing person.
Well,
the
she went to Vietnam, and
Yeah,
the
protested,
POWs, they were trying to pass her notes, and she just ripped them up right in front of her and said, "I don't care."
Yeah.
Oh,
She was a dick.
Yeah.
what a nice
basically.
person.
Yeah. asshole.
Anyway, well, so my uncle lived in Lingelstown, right?
Oh yeah.
And he married a woman from Shippensburg. So they're all down near this area. So when that movie came out, it was a big deal.
Mhm.
I remember him talking about because it's the town is right over there. The Shippensburg's real close
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was all that area of like
I wonder
southern
where you can watch it
Harrisburg.
right now. If it's like on
I'm
streaming
sure it
service.
exists somewhere.
We have it bought, so
Yeah. I
think-
remember it. I think was it on back in the day? A 2 VHSer.
yes, it was.
Two,
It was a
yeah,
2
and
DVD.
and it folded. Oh wow.
It was a 2 DVD.
so it's
like
like a miniseries.
you would have to flip it over.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How about that? So I wonder let's see what the runtime is.
The running time's almost 2 to 3 hours, I think.
Which is weird now. That's
it's
one
like
Blu-ray,
3
no
hours.
problem.
I want to say it's 3. I'm not sure.
Sam Elliott. I feel like he has to be in it.
Oh, he is.
I think
Sam Elliott is.
everything-
Holy shit!
Everything that
4 hours,
Yeah.
31 minutes.
and you're complaining about Justice League. Jeff Daniels in it.
Yep. Jeff Daniels is Chamberlain, and he does an excellent
They
Chamberlain.
picked a lot of people that have that look.
Mhm.
of,
I think if
Jeff-
you're ever
if you
doing a
take a
western
look-
or a war, you have to book
Sam Elliott.
Sam
Elliott, yeah.
That's like the
Take a
rule.
look at Jeff Daniels. He doesn't look like himself in it. He's young and has like that weird mustache and stuff. He plays an excellent Chamberlain. But while they were filming that too, they had those encampments, but you actually had to have a movie pass to get on the encampment.
Mhm.
So you couldn't just walk up and go into the encampment
Yeah,
or into the
any
area.
other-
If you're interested in
Right.
watching, if you want to stream it, you would have to buy it via stream. If you
Mhm.
or you can obviously get it from Amazon or whatever it is. But it's on Amazon Prime Video for $3.99 and
Yeah.
on Vudu for $3.99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See,
There you go.
I bought it for Sam for $3.99.
So if you
that's
have
every year.
4.5
if you have half a
movie.
day to
Yeah.
watch this fucking thing.
Well, no, we watch it like the day,
like-
like
okay.
the first day, and then the second day.
Oh,
we watch
okay,
it
that
the
you
third
break it
day
up
on the
a little bit
actual
easier.
days. Yeah. I should know that movie by heart by now. But while they were doing the acting and stuff, you had to have this movie pass. So there was a guard that stood guard at the entrances there, and you would have to show him your movie pass. So there's one Confederate soldier, and it seems like a lot of Confederate soldiers is a lot of the story. Came up to the encampment thinking, well, this is an encampment. And the guy said, I need to see your pass. And he like looked at him real weird and then walked off and drifted off into nothing.
So it was a ghost Confederate soldier.
Yeah, trying to get into the camp.
So would that be considered an intelligent hunt?
Yes,
Yes.
because that's aware of its surroundings, but not aware that it's dead. It's kind of like you have
So we're
20% of your mind or something.
yeah, where that possible encampment was, I'm not quite sure. They didn't give the encampment location, but if it was anywhere in the Death Valley there, or the wheat field or the peach field.
Undertaker.
So I think it's Death Valley, I think they call that, but I'm not sure. The wheat field or the peach field, that was where most of the bloodiest shit went down. So if you died in that kind of violent way, you could still be like where am I? Like what happened? I would think so. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
The other thing too, Devil's Den, we were talking about. Devil's Den is right in that area. Devil's Den was considered
That's my favorite place we went.
It's not on this map.
It's
Maybe over here somewhere.
I don't think they marked it off there. The town of Gettysburg never liked Devil's Den. It goes all the way back to the Native Americans. The Native Americans didn't like Devil's Den. They didn't like the rock formations. They thought there was something spiritually wrong with it.
I thought that was cool looking.
It is cool.
No.
You can climb
If
around.
you can
stuff.
climb around,
Yeah.
it's a little dangerous.
They did not like it. And then when the town that actually had its name before Gettysburg, the Battle of Gettysburg,
Okay.
because there were some kids that were playing around on it and saw this humongous black snake, and they called it the devil. And where does the devil live? In the den.
Oh.
So that's how it got its name, Devil's Den.
Actually, we seen when we were there. Like you can look through the rocks.
Yeah.
And there was a snake inside the rock.
Oh yeah, there's
Like a
a
black
big,
snake.
huge
Yeah.
rock formation.
Yeah. Andy was like jumping from.
Yeah, it does that. I did a little bit, but there's like huge gaps.
I have a photo.
I'm not going down.
I have a photo of Heidi in between, like coming out of a little cave formation, and Andy jumping over her
Yeah,
head.
that's cool.
So
It's
yeah.
cool. And when you can go to Battlefield, you can park right next to it and just walk right through. it.
Oh, I'll tell you, if you're like for me, like that was the first time I ever messed around with photography or taking my camera. Like it was probably my first and only time, because I haven't really done it since. But like, it's a great place just for like nature wise.
It's very scenic. Yeah.
It's so much scenic. And like I said, you could take the path and all the monuments.
Yeah, and you
like,
could take you have to pay for it, but there's horseback rides you can take, and they have trails. That go
I
through
always
the whole,
wanted to do that.
yeah.
The horseback ride.
Yeah, it's if you're obviously from Pennsylvania, you're probably 90% chance have done it. But if you're out of the area, there's a lot of cool stuff in the area, and you'll have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the next one too, I have Cashtown Inn. So do you know what Cashtown is, or where Cashtown is?
It's
Monty City.
19.
So they all sell the
I'm gonna look
drugs.
here. Cashtown Inn. Oh, this is on this side of Gettysburg. I haven't been on, so this is more the western side, I believe.
That's what all the city folks used to call Monty City.
What,
this would be
Money
the
Cashtown?
southern.
City.
The
Money City.
sorry, the southern side.
The southern.
Well, yeah, there's like the people from Maryland down this way have like kind of an accent, and it's like Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, the other brewery that like is super pop culture driven in Star Wars, it's like right on the other side of the Maryland border. So if it's like a 20-minute drive from Fourscore,
Okay.
like that brewery fire up, like
Yeah, because Gettysburg is really close to Maryland.
Yeah.
Emmitsburg is the
this
next big
brewery,
town in Maryland.
you don't even. I know you don't like beer, but this brewery, like they have a giant mural painted on the side of the
Uh-huh.
thing, and it's like a giant bar scene, and it's all different like pop culture
culture
references
people.
sitting. In the bar.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
kind of
It's
cool.
pretty sick.
Yeah, so Cashtown was the actual Confederate headquarters where all the
Ooh.
generals and the stuff was. So this is a little Cashtown Inn that's called, and I have a picture of it if Tony can load it up. There's some ghosts or some orbs in front of that too. I caught. This is a place that I didn't know if that's
that's pretty-
Saks, and I've never been to
Oh,
Saks.
that's-
That's Devil's
there's
Den. So
Devil's
this
Den.
is a picture I found on the internet.
Kind of looks like a person standing there. It looks almost
Person.
like a skull.
Yeah, a person I can see his
It's an
strap,
alien.
Yeah,
His
like kind of
strap
looks like a.
strap around his shoulder there, like probably was holding his gunpowder and his guns or whatever. There might have been his gun strapped to him. His little Confederate uniform. Now that is Cashtown. That was Cashtown at night. So this was a place where all the head honchos and like their like home base was the Confederacy. And they say that you can hear a lot of the generals and stuff walking back and forth at the top there. And that you can actually, there is one famous photo that you can try and look up. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. It's on when ghost hunters had their investigation at Taps or at Cashtown. They actually had an episode.
He's Cashtown is on the Carlisle Pike to the west.
So I was right to the west because
West.
it doesn't have a north compass on this map. I'm trying to figure it out
Yeah.
based on what I have.
You're either listening to the generals walking are the ghosts of the really passionate reenactors walking around.
Maybe it's the ghost of a horse.
But they also say too that you can catch. Sometimes you can get a Confederate soldier on the porch. So this one photo shows that nobody was there on the porch. The lady took a picture of just the house or the hotel itself, and there was a Confederate soldier walking out. Now that used to be booked up years in advance to stay in because it was notoriously haunted. People wanted to go and stay in it. Cashtown. Now
I would stay in a haunted place.
So would I.
then for the longest time, Cashtown was it was shut down. I think it changed ownership, and I'm not sure if it is up and running again. Because when we went that night, I don't think anybody lived in it. I don't think it was up and running at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if someone wants to buy it, they don't have to keep it a historical landmark. They just say, I want to live here now.
Yeah.
Can't come in.
Yeah.
The hotel with the sniper building, you can Airbnb some of those.
Farnsworth, there's a
Farnsworth,
bunch of rooms there, and you
Yeah.
can stay there
that's
overnight.
technically in town. Cashtown's outside of town.
Yeah,
that
I'm just
would be
saying there are places
right
you
there.
can stay that are
With the tent.
like you can book and stay there.
Oh, there's
Again,
a bunch of places around town.
more ghost stories on Cashtown. You can go and try and search for ghost hunters. That was TAPS. They had a whole investigation there that was very good. That was quite a few years ago.
They were big.
Were they the
2004.
plumbers?
Yeah, Roto-Rooter,
They
the
were
ball
the
guy,
ro-
Jason Grant.
Yes.
I wrote them a letter way back in the day. I was still in high school, and I was like, I'm about to graduate high school. I'm actually in Votech for plumbing and heating, and I told them the whole thing, how I did ghost hunting at like
Yeah.
the jail and all that stuff. And I said, I'm open-minded skeptic. I want to learn. I want to join your team, and I can also like help on the plumbing side of things. Like I'll move out there, like, and they're just like, no, we're good. And then like I found out something later.
They didn't need to be plumbers anymore after that show.
At a certain point, they weren't plumbers anymore.
Yeah,
No.
and then at the end of the day, I guess
Maybe the first season.
When they
but
got out of
that's
that trailer, they weren't plumbers anymore.
yeah. And I found like I know someone who does like the editing for that show, and then they did the editing for
Yeah.
Zach, and they're like, dude, 90% of the stuff that they would like I would have to edit is I would have to make it look like they were filming at night because they were filming during the daytime,
Mhm.
and then like I had to add ambiance noises like what was that. Like they would just be like, they would tell him the time cues
Well,
of when to
it's-
add a bang or something, and then they would
Yeah.
be like, "What was that? We have to go check that out."
Well, I mean, that's what they do on the
Mhm.
shows, no
Yeah.
matter
I
what.
was like, what a
Mhm.
fucking bummer! Like, just can you be like if you go in and don't get nothing, just be like, "Oh, we didn't get
Well, I
it."
mean,
well, they usually are.
That show would,
that was
out of all of them, that was
yeah.
one of the
I can see what you're
there's
saying,
nothing
maybe
here.
with Zach, but
yeah.
this one that in the very early seasons they would go in and say there's nothing here. We didn't get anything.
That show was
Yeah.
so big. Remember how big it
Yes.
got? They would do the live Halloween, like the live investigation for
Mhm.
5 hours. And me and my friends
I have
watched it.
so much to.
I have too much melanin to stay in a haunted place. I don't understand that.
He's black.
Oh,
He's too black to stay in a haunted
okay.
place. Yeah. I
Oh.
get that's hilarious.
Okay.
I would try just because I like you said, if we die,
your friends.
we're the person who
Mhm.
died from a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no negatives unless you die, and then maybe you'll come back as a ghost.
Especially with a pro-slavery ghost.
Yes, because that's what Cashtown was. I mean,
Yeah.
and mind you, I don't know how pro-slavery all those guys were. They were recruited. They had to do what they had to do. They had to do what they were told.
You know,
if you deserted, you were shot on sight. And so that's the Sachs Bridge too. There was many Confederacy deserters that were hung from Sachs Bridge. That
Yeah.
if you were to desert, and I had, I think, one deserter in my family for
Really?
Civil War. Yeah,
Oh.
I had two actually served.
Pricks.
I like
Two
when
served.
like like people
one-
who are pro
One
like
deserted.
Confederacy and they still fly it and they live like in Ashland and they say like it's heritage not hate and they're like the black people fought for the Confederacy.
They
I was like,
did.
yeah, they're probably fucking forced to.
Well, all the white boys were forced to. Do you think those poor boys actually wanted to go fight?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think people who were
Yeah, it was
who
just like
recruited
now.
during World War
Yeah.
One and Two
Yeah.
during the draft? Do you think they
Right,
all wanted to be
do it?
there?
No.
Yeah.
It's not like every single guy was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like picking cotton. Let me go fight for you. Like no.
What was I gonna say here? I lost my. train of
Most
thought
people
now.
don't know that the Battle of Gettysburg during the French and Indian War in 1755.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So, yeah, Farnsworth House, Cashtown.
Well, you have a
Devil's
photo
Den.
of the bridge here too that we just
Yeah,
talked
the
about.
Sachs Bridge.
I-
So-
I've never been to this. I was page from this book at the orphanage, not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to
we didn't
go.
do the orphanage
It
either.
sounds interesting.
And some people bring toys.
It said kids were tortured there?
yeah, I thought you had done the torture. I thought you'd done the orphanage.
No, not the orphanage.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
I thought
didn't
you
do
did.
this bridge or we didn't do the
I've
orphanage.
been on the bridge.
Yeah.
Now there it looks like some go. Looks like
Yeah.
someone's having a little left-handed cigarette there and enjoying it, blowing some smoke.
Looks like someone vaped
Yeah,
and blew it
So,
in front of the
That's a
screen.
lot of vape.
it's a nice bridge.
Have you seen some of those vapes?
Yeah.
It's all perceptive. I mean, really, I'm not trying to like,
No,
but like
but this is what
realistically,
yeah.
if you blew smoke, it could look like it takes up the whole bridge.
And then
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
orbs right above it too.
There,
You can see
yeah,
them.
and that like in the back there looks like a headlight.
Yeah.
You can see that one. Yeah.
So
So who knows?
who knows? I mean, it's two different perceptions. You can think Tony way, or you can think my way, or Kelly way. The
Kelly
the believe. I mean, I don't believe everything.
I wouldn't have seen that smoke without the big circle around it. I love that.
Okay, well, I was searching on the internet.
Yeah, that's an internet pull.
Well,
Yeah.
that the circles for the figure.
Yeah, there was a figure.
Yeah.
I got rid
It
of
looked
Yeah.
like a Munchkin figure, but yeah,
it looks
but-
like a head, torso. And
Oh.
the Sachs Bridge was in history. That was another like triage unit for the Confederacy. So there was a lot of like surgery and stuff going on. Wherever they found space to take care of wounded soldiers, they did. And then most of them, that was like, you're probably gonna die though if you went to Sachs Bridge. You were that bad.
but
Like they're gonna
usually-
John, I got shot in the foot.
Yeah.
It's fucking over, man.
yeah,
no. It probably at 9 out of 10, it probably was over for you
Yeah.
because that bullet lodged in your foot.
and then you get infection.
Yeah, absolutely.
It not only from the saw or anything from the surgery, but from the lead bullet that created some sort of infection. And if you didn't get it out right away or get that cut off right away back then, you were done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The infection.
Another 100. I think you guys all hang out on the YouTube side. If you are there, please help us with a subscribe. We are trying to grow that platform. So if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, head over to the YouTube. We are trying to hit that goal of at least 100 subscribers.
Oh,
but
Nadine said she found a kitty cat.
there you go.
I hope the kitty's okay. That's all.
What did you name it?
No, she's-
I wonder if she kept
Yeah. No, I think she's found it.
Oh, well, thank you for hanging out.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Thank you guys.
Yeah, there's a couple covered bridges there. There's a smaller one
Yeah.
that's nice, but like it's
Oh, the
weird.
red covered bridge.
Yeah, usually in ghost lore they cannot cross water.
Mhm.
So I don't know how they could haunt the bridge. Maybe it's a loophole.
See,
They can haunt the bridge
all.
itself.
That's all lore. Like I think to myself more or less that water holds more energy. Like water can be like I think water holds energy. That's why I think most of the ghosts of Cape May. Like I can go to Gettysburg. I don't feel as much as when I go to Cape May. Wow, there are some houses that I know I would never go in, and there's some that I'm attracted to.
But why, if like, don't you want to have an experience?
Sometimes no. I've
wow.
actually told my spirit, my guides, and just shut it down because I was too like when I was younger. It was too much for me to handle.
but not like a negative.
If
Like
you're ever with us and your meter goes off the thing,
We're
right?
going in.
Send us in.
Yeah.
We're going in.
But like I'm not saying you want to be scratched or something like that. But we really want to see like a figure like
No.
walk
I
from
wanna
one
be
wall
scratched.
to another.
Yeah,
Like just like when you look, see that?
yeah.
It's like
I want to be scratched.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to be
full-
possessed.
I wanna be
I'm
full
more-
possessed.
And then you record me
I won't
possessed.
see it,
Yeah.
but if you done that with your hand, I'd feel it. I'd feel it.
What do you mean?
Like you were saying, I could see the hand. I can't really see the hand. I'm not clairvoyant that much, but I'm clairsentient that I'd feel somebody touching me.
Oh, okay.
I'd feel that, or I'd hear it.
Dude,
I hear
if I
people.
got to interview as a podcast where you're possessed by the devil,
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
yeah.
No,
That'd be
no.
awesome. Like Andy, like
You know how much money you'd get?
Devil Andy.
Yeah, I am Azazel.
I don't think anyone ever has done a podcast with a possessed
Azazel's
person.
an actual demon,
Yeah, I know what demon names.
and that's in Supernatural also.
No,
Yeah, we need that. Like one of us need to get possessed and
Not me.
and podcast
Not
with
me.
it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
But what
saying
what if you were so because like there would be demons of all skill levels, right? What if you had such a willpower that you could take over the demon that possessed you and you got its powers and then you
There you
trapped the
go.
demon in your own mind
Oh my god.
and now
Anything's-
you're in
listen,
control.
Out of
anything
control.
is possible.
Yeah, I mean it's not that out of the realm. Like I mean if we're already in this realm,
Like Kelly
it ain't
thinks
that
I'm crazy about saying that maybe these ghost people are seeing are not
I
actual
don't think you're
Confederate.
crazy. I don't think you're crazy, but
I think it's
I'm-
just as believable as a ghost there. I mean, if there could be ghosts anywhere, why can't a
Oh, I think there could be, but on a mass scale, is it all reenactors?
Who knows?
no.
how many years have people been
See,
reenacting that war?
that's where you think it could all be reenactors, right? Is that what you're telling
No,
me?
I'm just saying.
Then let's straighten out what you're telling me.
I'm saying that maybe some of the. I said, how funny would it be if 90% of the ghosts seen at Gettysburg are reenactors, ghosts of people who were just so passionate about being there and taking
Mhm.
time out of their day to. Because I knew people who were reenactors and literally like
I love it.
the rest
love
of
it.
their
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
existence was miserable. And they're like, it's Gettysburg time.
Yeah.
Like I know
Yeah.
people
That
who are like
was
that for
their
the Ren
escape.
Fair.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend at the Ren Fair who literally goes
Me.
out of his way and he works there every year, the whole season.
Yeah.
And he has a shop and everything. Like so, I can see if he died, he would haunt the Ren Fair because that's
Mhm.
his favorite place
yeah,
on the earth.
yeah, we could.
So I'm saying like maybe some of these ghosts are
Some
just
of them, yeah. I'm not
really
saying I'm
passionate
not saying that it's not possible at all. I'm saying yeah, that's some of them, but I don't think all of them are.
No, I don't
And
think all of
it
them.
could be,
Okay,
let's say
see there
someone-
you got to clear it up because
Yeah.
at first you
I
were
mean, I
coming
don't-
across that it was all of them.
I'm trying to ham it up a little bit here, but but that's also thinking like if ghosts are really there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I have a hard time
if
with
you're on the story or on the train of thought that the ghosts are real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I say to everybody now, when I first went there, I felt something. When I went back on Halloween, you felt a little bit, but now when I go, I don't feel.
Do you know Nadine?
I do not know. I don't think so.
Where are we at here?
If I do, I'm sorry.
Because she says Kelly, but she also could just listen to the
maybe
show.
Kelly did. I mean,
Some eerie Civil War surgery kid at the Schuylkill Historical Society. Yes, there is.
Yeah, it's very barbaric for the time.
If you go to the Schuylkill Historical Society, they have lots of great things there for the Civil War to learn about our regiments and stuff. And actually, if you get them to take you up top, and I don't know if they
she's saying don't go to a concentration camp if you're an empathetic.
No, I would never. I can't even. That's hard for me to even watch documentaries on the concentration camp. I went to the Holocaust Museum and had such a terrible stomach ache and headache the whole
but if
time.
They're taking your parents away, and then you're reaching out,
and you're
getting the gate, and then the gate starts bending, and then you find out you have magnetic powers.
Yeah.
No?
How would your worldview change, if at all, if you 100% saw and heard something wholeheartedly unexplainable? I will say right now, like I've said earlier on the podcast, like when I was a kid, I seen a figure in my bedroom. And a part of me now that I'm older, I'm like, I question, even though I physically seen it, I'm like, all right, well, I was half asleep.
Yeah.
I was grieving the loss of a family member.
It was years ago.
Like I was in a state where I was half awake, half asleep. I can still vividly remember the entire experience. And I've had experiences at my parents' house that like I always joke around saying my parents' house is haunted, and I've seen things there and experienced things, but I'm still like, all right, well, did I really, or is it like because my preconception notion that I think it is haunted, is it me manifesting or thinking something? Because I think the mind is very powerful.
I think if you see something, it doesn't necessarily mean your whole life has changed. I mean, now if the ghost comes up to you and starts telling you, "Hi, I'm so and so."
I don't know. I think there's some. I think there's some experience out there, like when it's right in front of you, like the ghost in the attic of the Farnsworth house, the Confederate sniper. Like there was one guy that said he looked at me square in the face and he looked like he was illuminated from the inside, but I could see every detail on him. And he said, I just stood there in shock and just disappeared.
Yeah.
When you have an experience like that, it's hard to explain away. And sometimes I think our brains try to give that rational thought instead of just leaving it maybe what it is.
Sure, but
there is a parallel. Thank you. Universe or but on the flip
side, if your brain
is stuff that happens.
If on the flip side too, if you're at a location that you're being told is extremely haunted, can't your brain also manifest something that's not there because your preconceived notion is that you are somewhere spooky?
I guess it can.
It could, but then if you go even more farther down the route, then you're creating a tulpa where you're manifesting something out of nothing, and you are making a paranormal thing.
I've been listening.
You know,
if I wait till later, I've been binge listening to the Kryptonaut podcast, and they did a whole episode like way back in the day on Santa Claus, where people legit think they saw Santa Claus, like the whole family. Like there was a guy on the roof, the whole nine, and they're like, well, after all these decades of years, maybe they're like. The tulpa, Santa has become a tulpa where he's been believed in so much that it has become existent. Yeah.
That's what they say Slender Man, how he got.
Yeah.
Because he was a creepypasta. He was completely.
So many people believed it. The energy formed an actual creature. I mean, it's out there.
Dude,
crazy.
I want creatures to be a thing. I want ghosts, creatures, demons. I want all of it to be real. I just
like the Supernatural show, which I only seen 3 episodes of. I want that to be real.
If you want it that bad to be real, then why did you rationalize that being you saw away all these years later?
Because when I seen it, I was like 8 years old.
But sometimes, still. if I was to go home and I see a figure walk, let's say through the wall into the inner room, like I'd be like, oh my god. But then I'd be like, well, what was it? You know, it's just human nature to be like, was it?
To rationalize. See, I've never rationalized. Never in my life.
I wouldn't just accept it as that's a ghost.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Let's
I would never
really
say that's a ghost, but that's something beyond the black and white. It's something beyond. It's something with.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to be like a little bit of a detective and be like, what caused this? Why? What?
Yeah,
did I see something different? If the door
closes and shuts,
just so that way,
the cabinets start flying open here.
Okay, let's say you ruled out all the plausible things, and then you would say, well, I guess it was something supernatural.
What if every ghost we see isn't actually a ghost? It's like a time rift from another dimension or a parallel universe.
But that's still within the gray, Tony. It's not black or white.
But I'm saying, what if ghosts are not even a real thing, and what you're seeing is
Is a
rip,
time rip, right.
a rip in another a
That's
parallel universe.
That's totally believable too. Like I would be behind that as well. Like it's something other than the black and white. That's what I try and say.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah, that's still
there's something
supernatural.
Yes, that's still supernatural. There's something within the gray area.
But there is a science behind like alternate dimensions and
Like people think shadow people are altered
or
dimension.
could be time altered
the
terrestrials
shadow people
are time travelers.
And I wasn't on that episode, but I have a lot of thoughts on shadow people. So shadow people to me can be a lot of things. They could be time travelers. They could be a lot of like the Hat Man. I know I was always taught the Hat Man
or
is a
Peter Pan shadow.
The Hat Man is more or less like
evil.
Evil.
Yeah. So is the Night Hat.
He tries to like get you to do bad things, and he actually leaves a mark on your hand.
The Hat Man also will manifest usually through a lot of negative stuff that's going on in a person's life.
That's what I was just going to say next. If you're having a really tough time of a really tough go of it, he kind of manifests and comes and gives you whatever you want.
Not to go off the tangent. Go ahead. It is weird that a lot of people that have sleep paralysis do report seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Can that
true or not?
Can that be where everyone's mind? We're all kind of built similar mentally, where maybe your minds all go to something, or because you're so influenced by like
if you've already heard it,
you're influenced.
But it's like
by
let's say someone who never heard of the Hat Man,
and
then they say I've seen this figure when I have, then be like, well, that's something. I don't know what it is, but anyway.
But it's a very vague, like it's a shadow with a top hat. You know what I mean? Like if they were
it's
like,
not really a top hat either.
It's the Undertaker.
It's the Undertaker
it's a hat. Yeah, but if like someone's like, I seen a elephant with a lion's tail and a dog's face with green and white scales. Like if they had tons and tons of details and thousands of people reported seeing that, I can believe that. But also,
I mean, it's vague.
If 15 people say they seen something in an area, you're almost guaranteed that 300 more people are going to have are going to come up with,
unless you don't know and you go there and see it.
How vague is that? Like it's not
a
just
black shadow with a hat. That's pretty simple.
It's not that simple. It could be just a black shadow. That's it, or a black shadow silhouette of a person. Instead of the hat's still there, and the hat's always that Undertaker style flat brim tall hat. Like
I still think that. I think that.
And in most of the time, it's not only just a hat; it's a cape belonging to it, the short cape.
Sometimes red eyes.
Yes, sometimes red eyes.
Now we're getting into sometimes where some people are seeing no red eyes, some people are
right, but some people have different dimensions of seeing or different abilities of being able to see stuff too.
But you're also saying you're doing what I'm saying is you have 5 items.
You with me.
I understand, but what you have,
I'm going to see more than you will.
Maybe.
Because you cut yourself off.
You're saying if more people see more distinguishable features,
yes, I'm saying if people are seeing 3 things: black shadow, hat, eyes.
But if they said he had a blue shirt
cape,
with a green apple on the side that said 76, and then you'd be like, okay, well,
there's a lot more detail there.
But
and even that, like when people have sightings of stuff and it's put out in the ether that like, and then people, I had that feeling, I had that thing too,
connect it.
Or I had a
Bigfoot,
a repossessed memory where I had that experience, or I like, and then more people come out of the woodwork saying they had the same experience. But did you have that experience, or are you
been told to,
or no? Are you just kind of like pulling it because like
a prime example is give someone a LaCroix and tell them the wrong flavor, and they'll be like.
Sure.
That's
or a little kid or a little kid watches something on TV, he's scared, and then a couple weeks later when he has a nightmare, he reverts back to what scared him weeks ago, and then he doesn't have the deception if it was reality or not reality, and he has an experience where
but you're all talking from a point of view that you've never seen anything or never actually,
I have seen something.
Actually had an experience. But you rationalize it away.
Sure. But that doesn't still take away the fact I seen something.
Yeah, but if you rationalize
now, are you rationalizing it away, or are you actually saying I saw something?
I'm 100% said I saw something, but I can also make an educated guess of probably what happened there.
But if you do try to rationalize and you cannot get an answer, then that's more evidence that it is something supernatural.
There you go. Like another thing that happens too a lot of times is people have like an experience where they see a ghost or an alien, or they see something like an alien being, and then they give all these descriptions, and they look like, oh well, that was a character on a TV show around the same time that aired maybe weeks or months before that time. So people are pulling from that, and because when you absorb something in your brain pop culturally,
like when you have a dream of a person you haven't seen in 10 years.
Here's the thing that they're trying I'm not saying how fact it is, but like they say your brain cannot reproduce a face. Every face that you ever have in your dream is someone that you've physically seen at some point in time in your life.
Oh, okay. I believe that.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that.
Really?
No.
You don't believe that you can just see a random person? And
my dreams are so wild at times. Like but I know what I'm doing. I'm astral traveling. but you don't believe in that. So
Yeah.
it's not like.
But also, like what I said before, too.
Get out of there when you see those birds.
I see different creatures and everything in Mayan. Like I see half man, half bird, almost like the Egyptian gods and stuff.
But you are also very, very into that culture,
right?
So you,
but I'm not seeing a specific Egyptian god either. I'm seeing something different, something wild. I'm seeing people with like, and I know people are going to be like, "Oh my god, she's nuts," but you see
episode 54. Kelly's nuts.
Yeah, you see different things. Like,
sure.
Yeah, and I don't believe that to an extent. I do believe it to an extent. Yes, I can always see my grandfather in my dreams too. But I've seen his face. I understand that. But there are faces that I know I've never seen, and that they're nothing like you or I.
But could your mind have just, when you're walking around and you see some guy randomly, you don't know who the hell he is, and your mind saves that like a save file.
So like how we talked about this, or like the autism. People with autism, your vision and your cone is here, and your brain is absorbing millions of particles of information at a time. But your brain's only picking and choosing which ones they want to remember. But that DNA and that like when you take a photo and you can zoom in on a photo and see every single pixelation that's in that part of the photo, but all your brain is seeing is the main photo you're taking. Your brain is doing that as well. So you can be walking down a street with thousands and thousands of people, and your brain is collecting all that data of those faces.
Right, but are those faces going to be the creatures and stuff I see?
But
no.
So go back to the creatures. So you read and study a lot of text when it comes to Celtic mythology and Roman mythology.
But that's only in the last 10, 15
but it's
years.
Still there.
But I had these dreams since I've been a kid, Tony.
Yeah, but weren't you always into this as a kid?
Not when I was 5 and 6 years old. I like my crystals, but I didn't physically understand all this.
But you were diving into that. You were watching Willow and stuff like that, like, right? Like you were into that culture.
Fantasy.
Sure.
Fantasy, yes, but not like that was Hydra's, like
not to this extent.
Yeah, not
but you were still putting the effort to be
I
into
believe
that.
Maybe the face thing, but I think your brain for a dream could create other things.
Yeah.
Monsters and robots and
like Heidi has insane dreams, but she also watches a shit ton of scary horror movies, and they project into her dreams. She's like, "Oh, I had a dream where I was being chased," but then like falling asleep with the TV on. Do you ever fall asleep with the TV? I do it all the time. And your dreams are what your TV is
anymore.
I mean, I don't leave the TV on when I sleep. I fall asleep watching stuff. Yeah. I'm just retired. But I hardly ever dream, or if I do, I don't remember it. So
yeah. And I'm not saying what you're experiencing is not real, but I'm just saying that's where I would rationalize it. Where if I'm in my dreams experiencing zombies and demons and werewolves, but pop culturally I'm into horror movies, into monsters, and into that, I can be like, okay, I can say that's why I'm having these dreams of these creatures in these parallel universes, because I consume a lot of I consume myself with a lot of that. If I had a dream,
I can respect it if you can respect me.
Sure, I can respect you. I'm just saying, like, I had an experience that I can say I 100% have, but it's not bad if I rationalize that experience too.
Well, you can try and rationalize it, but then on one hand, you kind of believe in it too. So what is it? Do you rationalize it or do you believe it?
But you can do both.
Do you want to do both?
You can do both. You could rationalize to say it's not something that I know happened. It's something that I can't explain.
Yeah, I can't explain it.
That's rationalizing that you can't explain it.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were more or less rationalizing it as something to dismay it, or just discontinue it, or just whatever.
I don't put a lot of effort into it. Like I don't put I wouldn't base my entire existence of ghosts on this entire earth based on what I experienced, because I can also be like, all right, like even at that time I was watching tons of like Are You Afraid of the Dark and spooky things and reading Goosebumps books. So like I could have been in a part where I was half awake, half asleep and thought of this.
And the half awake, half asleep is a different cycle itself too.
That's what they say. Yeah. It's like a different plane.
It's a different plane. It's almost where you're more in touch beyond the veil, Tony.
Yeah.
Who knows? What a question she got answered there.
Yeah. Where are we at here? The chat is going not. So we had LARPing Ghost. If that was true,
technically, yes.
Anime conventions would have been filled with haunted dweebs for 100 years. Who knows?
Will be.
Yeah, will be. Yeah, maybe New York Comic Con to be filled with.
Is a term for, it's a derogatory term for like nerds.
Nerds, yeah. In 100 years, New York Comic Con is going to be just filled with just tons of Deadpool ghosts.
If I die, I don't want to go to Javits Center.
Yeah. Oh my God, they stink so bad.
If I die, like I said that.
Comic Cons are like sometimes wrestling shows where it's just people who just like
can be, yeah.
You put 100 people in a room.
I always wanted to go, but I've never been.
Put 100 people in a room who don't know how to put deodorant on. I'm a skeptic believer to myself. I always try to come up with explanation to everything. Spirits are just on a different frequency. Oh, don't get me started on frequencies.
No, that's right. That's a different frequency, different plane. That's what
So
I'm trying to.
I don't like that because that's like in Star Wars when they got rid of the Force and it's midichlorians. If you have a high midichlorian count, no, it's a magic power.
I dream with my eyes open sometimes, and I'm absolutely exhausted. I've seen deer, octopi, giant bugs in my room at night, and have sorted them out, real or fake. Your brain can do some crazy things.
That's true.
That is absolutely. Especially if you're sleep deprived. Not only myself, but my mom has spotted the Hat Man in our home here, living in Pottsville.
Yes, the Hat Man. The Hat Man is anywhere and everywhere.
He's an interdimensional traveler.
Well, here's the thing
he
too.
Feeds on negativity, like Andy said. Like if you're going through a lot of tough shit in your life,
almost like a psychic vampire.
Yes, it's like a psychic vampire. And
this is why separate witnesses, when they get them unseen, because false memories are hard.
Yeah,
but you also could have, like, it's rare, but like mass hallucinations where you both.
Well, if you're both going to the woods and they say Bigfoot's in this area, then both people might see Bigfoot, and maybe they'll describe them the same.
It's like when a bunch of people play Ouija board, they'll have the same preconceived notion.
So, I mean, who knows? I'm not ruling everything out. I'd love to see it. I'd love to shake Bigfoot's hand.
Who's going to win, him or Matt Quay? July 9th?
Anthony, that show is now canceled.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, the guy that runs it is having some medical issues. They might have to get surgery.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, so that show is, the RWF is not happening. I'm going to talk about Tornado Attack.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming hanging out, Anthony.
Yeah.
That's a little crossover there. See, there's some wrestling, and
so no one will be winning that match.
What was I gonna say now? But anyway, if you guys, like how Tyler was saying, if you have someone's house, you like, hey, my mom's house is spooky or haunted, or we have a lot of activity in this house. Like, we're not ghost hunters. We're not going to come and try to disturb things, but we would love to hear your stories. And our equipment travels very well. You won't get the same setup. Like, I'm not going to bring everything, but we can bring stuff to your house and record an episode, and you can tell us your ghost story. Like, we are always like looking to have guests on and people come on and sit down and do your experience. I will be as respectful as I can. Like, I'm different when a guest is here rather than us at the table, because it's us at the table, and that's the dynamic of our show. But if you come and sit down and be like, the devil touched my butt, I'm like, all right, man, the devil touched your butt. Like, you know what I mean? Sorry that happened to you, but like in my head, I'm gonna be like,
this guy's nuts.
I don't think the devil touched your butt. But anyway, and another thing too, I do respect Kelly's beliefs, but also on the show, I'm trying to be a little entertaining and giving another aspect of things. What she believes has no effect in bearing on my life.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
Yeah.
So
we're being there's a little bit of entertainment value.
Where is this orphanage in town? Is it outside
I don't know. I haven't been to the orphanage, but the orphanage
Bigfoot lives in Deep Creek. There it is.
There you go.
No. I created remember my crypt I created? Old Swampy lives in Deep Creek.
Swampy lives in Deep Creek.
Because it's a swamp. Yeah. So he's old swamp.
Yeah.
It's just that it's Deep Creek. It's a little creek.
If there are ghosts, they just need to pay rent, earn their keep in this economy. No handouts. Yeah, and if if they're sucking up your electricity, and they're using your energy.
Yeah, because they gotta manifest. They gotta take your electricity manifest.
Yeah, it's too much. Too
the
much.
orphanage, I'm not sure where it is. It's at the edge. It's at the edge of town somewhere, I think.
It's in this book, and they said like there's like kids were tortured.
Yeah,
so that's horrible.
That went through. Long story short, on the orphanage there, while the Civil War was going on, that left a lot of kids without parents. So they started this orphanage there before, I believe, the Battle of Gettysburg actually happened. And the first madam they had was wonderful, and she lasted about 2 years. And then there was another madam that came in after her.
How long was the war in the town of Gettysburg? Like, how long did it?
What, 3 days?
3 days.
Yeah. 3 days.
3 days. So all that violence took place in over 3 days. That's why I think things stay there, because it was so violent in such a short time.
It's right on Baltimore Street.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the Soldiers National Museum and Orphanage.
Yeah. So then this Madame Rosa took over, and she actually tortured the kids. She locked them in outhouses. She'll tie them to fence posts in the hot sun.
Now there's someone who's evil.
They done bad, and then she had
I mean, it's not like this lady would have done that regardless if there was a war there.
Yeah.
No,
she sounds like
this is separate. Other than just taking the orphans in from the war, she handcuffed them to the wall down in the basement. She locked them in this little cubby hole in the basement, and some of them actually died in the cubby hole. Like I said, she tied them to fence posts out in the hot beating sun. They would get beat. There was a 16-year-old boy that helped her, and they called him Stick Boy. So he would beat the crap out of these little kids. It actually came to an end that when one of the inspectors came in, they found a little boy locked in the outhouse. And then they start investigating everything he was saying, and they start finding everything. And there was actually, 6 or 7 kids unaccounted for? So they're presumed to be dead and buried on the ground somewhere.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but it wasn't during this war like people were like setting up picnics and watching the war because like the war was different this
No.
time too, where they weren't
No,
like
they
shooting
moved out.
civilians.
They moved out. They moved out of the area. They didn't want nothing to
I
do with
don't
this.
think it would be safe to be around this at
No.
all.
No.
Well, I'm
Never.
saying
It's not like they,
war,
like
wartime here was like it was kind of you like you didn't go after civilians. Like if there was a
So-
civilian walk, you're like pow. Like if like, there was a war right now in the Middle East, like they don't care if you're a civilian or what. We're shooting our gun.
yeah, I don't think they like invaded the
No,
towns.
They a lot of people tried to get out of the town. They tried to get out,
But-
they didn't want to be involved with it.
You would think it probably.
So I
just
thought the
wouldn't be
one guy
safe.
during our tour said like some people would set up picnics and watch from like the hillside, the battles.
Maybe up
I don't
right up
know.
high, but that seems.
I
like
don't think so,
stretching a little
man.
bit.
Everything I've ever learned, people tried to get the hell out. The only reason really why Jenny Wade was there was that her sister just gave birth and couldn't move.
Yeah, because like even like they have bow and arrow, you're still kind of unless you're well far away. Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
why would you
I mean,
wanna-
yeah, they weren't like 6 feet away watching the
They,
war. Like,
I think that's a today mentality. Oh, something's drama, something's going on. Let's go watch. I think back then they had a more sense to get the hell out of the area,
yeah.
especially with cannons. You got to think you had cannons too that could blow through the town.
It's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't
mean,
think
who
so.
knows? I
But
mean,
if they're just
maybe
like,
this one's- yeah,
you're like, oh, that's turning our way.
Yeah.
Like not like it's like a machine gun. Or just,
yeah.
like you're
But I mean,
you have no shot.
There actually was like some sort of machine gun in the Civil War. It was very, very
Gatling
primitive.
gun.
Yeah, the Gatling gun.
That's the crank.
Yeah, you cranked it.
Where are we at here?
I think that was in Harper's Ferry. There was
Now,
one
if you want to play a good game, it's a little old now. It's on 360 and PlayStation 3 era. It's called Call of Juarez, Bound for Blood, the second one, and they start out in the Civil War and they go Wild West. A little bit of Civil War.
Isn't that the predecessor of Red Dead?
No, that's Red Dead. Oh no, what was that game called?
I
There's
thought
Red Dead
Call of-
Redemption.
I
A
thought
Revolver.
Call of Horror. That
no,
game.
they're totally no.
I know, but I thought they took the bones of that game and were like, oh, we can make a Western based off of.
Maybe, but
yeah.
I mean, they're not the same people or anything.
Well,
Developers.
It wasn't Rockstar.
No, I forget who it was. And then the third one they went.
Real quick, all the negative energy. Is there any way that some kind of measurable change in that area until we find out the observer effect happens in science, where we have some type of power with our focus and our intentions? That's what like the Holpa thing, right? Where like, if
Well, he's
Yeah,
saying a buildup of negative energy could create something or attract something. Yes.
yes, definitely. And kind of going along the lines of that, there's another theory too that they cannot move on because people keep.
so
coming,
during the
coming to
first
site
battle
in
of
the
Bull
morning.
Run, they had people set up picnics and watch the fight.
There you go.
They had no clue what was going to
Oh,
happen.
okay.
That
so
was
yeah,
Bull
I mean,
Run, though.
so they
That's
probably
not Gettysburg.
they probably didn't go there to.
So Bull Run was a little different.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but Bull Run I don't believe was in a town. That was in more of like an open area space type thing.
Can you imagine? Imagine
No.
someone taking a picnic in Gettysburg and just like all these people like they're bound to be shrapnel
Yeah.
and stuff flying and like
Yeah, and you got to think this was the bloodiest war ever fought in our continent.
yeah, that's
It was,
something
and
else.
it is bloody. Some people say it was the bloodiest war in the Western Hemisphere.
And very primitive as well.
Very primitive still. Yeah, it wasn't quite revolutionary style. Revolutionary style was terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, just line them up, shoot them down. Line them
Yeah.
up, shoot them down. It was so stupid.
Until like one of the Native Americans was like,
What are we
you
doing?
know, you don't have to do that. Just
Well, no,
go-
that was
go around
during
from
the
behind it.
Revolutionary War.
Yeah, that's what
Where
that's what you're saying.
The British
yeah.
were like, we have to march in the thing, and the Americans are like, fuck that.
That.
Yeah, and then we're like, well, let's take our shotguns and saw them off
Yeah.
and stick rocks and salt and nails in there.
Yeah, and then the British were also dumb enough to have the big white straps right across their chest and made a big
Target.
bullseye.
Yeah. And the British were like, you guys aren't fighting fair.
that's-
We're like, guerrilla warfare, motherfucker.
Yeah, Valley Forge. I've been to Valley Forge too, and I never felt anything there. And there was a lot went on at Valley Forge. I just think sometimes when you encapsulate it in time like that, it's like more of a repeat thing. I think it kind of starts to disintegrate. And I do think Gettysburg ghosts, like the reenact, like the ones that play over and over and over again, are starting to disintegrate. And what's left is your intelligent hauntings, and that's very hard
residual,
to
you
find.
mean?
Your residual,
Yeah.
yeah. The residual is starting to fade
When I say I feel or felt something,
because it's over 200 years ago. We were
Yeah.
at the 200th.
Yeah, and you would think like
anniversary
if there was
the
a
other
ghost,
year.
right, that was upset about being dead. Eventually, when it like just like, hey, if I wronged you, but 20 years go by, you're like, oh, I forget.
well, how long would a residual go away?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe in 200 years they don't. The ghost doesn't care anymore
Mhm.
because
I don't
just
know.
forgot.
So,
If you owe me $20 and it's 30 years later, I'm like, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
but
like
I
at
think
the-
they're
at the-
just
at
they're
the-
trapped in that time.
Yeah.
That's what they see.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie The Others?
No.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
That's what I think it's like. And you don't know. You have no fucking clue. Like it's like
Yeah,
When's
that's
my
it.
husband coming home? When's
The
my
entire
husband
movie,
coming
they
home?
think they're being haunted by ghosts,
And
but
they
at
are
the
the
end, they
ghosts.
found out they're the ghosts. And they're
Oh.
being exorcised from the house.
Oh, jeez.
Um,
And so were the keepers too, the innkeeper people.
The keepers.
yeah, that was the one where Sharon Stone and she goes to like talk to her little girl, and her little girl turns around to the old lady's face.
Mhm.
Wow, it's
It was in the trailer. It was fucking
was
terrifying.
It was good. It was a good movie.
It was like around the same time as or a
And
couple years after Sixth Sense, where it was like the twist.
Okay, it's
the
like
twist
mid '90s.
Yeah,
I
it
hate
was-
that twist bullshit.
Well-
Fuck Shyamalan thing. Oh, fuck him.
He has some good movies.
No,
Yeah,
he
he has some good
The
movies.
Village was good. I liked.
No.
I liked Sixth Sense, and I liked the one where the kids go to their grandparents' house and hear the whole time it's not their grandparents.
What was that?
What? It's not their grandparents.
Yeah.
It's someone else's grandparents.
No, so what?
That
like, so
sounds horrible.
The premise of this is that the mother like puts them on a train and they go
Okay.
see their grandparents. And they get there and her mom's like, how are we doing? Everything's fine. And they're like, grandma's a little weird. But then the grandfather justified that grandma was weird because she had sundown syndrome, where when the sun goes down, she just goes crazy.
Yeah, she's dementia, which is an actual syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, okay, the mom's like, just be careful. And then like things get more and more and more and more weird.
Mhm.
And then the kids are like, hey, like, she's like, where are your because she would never get on the FaceTime. The grandparent, like, they would never do it at the same time. I don't think they were allowed to have computers. I forget what the whole thing was. But the one time they get on the computer and they show the grandparents through the window to the yard, and they're like, that's not your grandparents.
Oh, so
And
that's
she's like,
someone else's house.
I have to call the cops and get you out of there because like it was starting to get really strange and stuff. But it was a cool like
I
twist
don't
ending.
remember. What was it called?
Oh fuck.
Wrong house.
Wrong grandparents.
Well, I guess like these people, like even though they're old, they killed the people
Yeah.
who were in the house and like took their identities and stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was that movie? I don't remember what it was called now, but it was really, I actually liked it. But,
So in the others too, that you see a part where her husband died in World War One, and he comes through the fog to see her, and they see each other one night, and he goes away. So that was just like explaining and kind of showing that he kind of
Passed
saw
on.
her and passed on.
Yeah.
But she
Hmm.
couldn't pass on because she thought she was still within that world.
watching was really like their version of Netflix. What else we got? The Confederate state called the Battle of Manassas Junction.
The Bull Run. Bull
Yeah,
Run.
Bull Run.
Yeah.
I can imagine how bad it smelled in the hot summer when
Yep.
when it was over.
They're
Yeah.
cleaning it up. So when they smelled that bad, the women actually wore nosegays, and that's how they got their name, nosegay. So they wore lavender and different like sweet pea flowers and stuff on their wrists.
Well, you know that
almost like a
that you
plague
would-
mask.
you
Yes,
know
that you would
the
have to go
children's
like
thing,
this.
ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy, ashes, ashes, they all fall down. That's
based on a
that's based on
disease.
the Black Plague.
The
Oh,
plague.
okay.
So when they would throw all the bodies out in the street,
Yeah.
you would have a pocket full of posy, and that's how you walk on the street,
Mhm.
so you didn't smell the body.
So-
and
Okay.
they start
They-
burning all the bodies.
That's what they said, and they actually burnt horses. That there was many horses that died in this battle, and they took all the horse bodies and burnt them. So can you imagine the
It's
smell
funny that
of
they
rotting
take the
horse
horses
body?
and use them to eat because, I mean, it's not that crazy. And if you have a bunch of them and it's 1863,
Listen, I'm a dog and cat, like a dog
but,
and animal
like,
person. But
yeah.
if I'm starving,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know how starving these people were.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's the
fucking
problem.
dog.
Because these people were in town, they're a little bit more ritzier than the people outlined.
yeah, or at least use the horse bodies to feed the animals on the farm.
Yeah,
something.
like pigs or
Use something. I mean, don't just waste
Well,
it.
they burnt them. They
Make-
burnt
make
them,
glue
and
out of it,
and
like
like
they
Tony said at one point, there were people drowning in other people's blood on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's-
it was
that's-
that bad.
Yeah, so much blood. That
There was-
if you ever go on a tour, they'll tell you. like,
Yeah, there was one person that actually he got wounded, a Confederate soldier it was, and he fainted, and he didn't wake up until the war was over. And here, when he woke up, he was in a
You
pile.
fainted for 3 days.
He fainted, and well, he had some sort of wound on him. He fainted.
Yeah,
and when
it's
he
possible.
woke up in a pile of dead bodies until the other people actually figured out, holy shit, this guy's still alive. But he didn't live much longer
Yeah.
because his infection
He's
had
from the south.
spread.
He's like,
Yeah, I'm just so
His
curious. Like,
infection had spread so bad.
obviously, I'm not. When I say this, I'm not saying the Confederate War was like. Obviously, it was what it was, right? Like, it all happened. The Civil War, not the Confederate War, Civil War. But like, how many stories were probably like embellished? Like stories
Well,
like, oh,
Well,
John.
when you go down south, this is what my old boss told me, because my old boss loved going to Louisiana. They call it the Great Unfortunate Happening or something. They don't call it the Civil War. It's the unfortunate.
Well, a lot of
happening.
people in the South didn't view it as slavery. They just thought North is evil, North is bad.
yeah, they're
Mhm.
trying to infringe on our rights.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was states' rights. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
But like I'm saying, like the winners of history always write the war.
That's
so,
true.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Mhm.
it's always interesting to like what happened and what
Yeah,
was
and
embellished.
I
Like
recommend.
Bo about what the fucking Bo, fucking the football player.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. He would jump
don't.
over 8-foot fences.
Yeah.
He was so superhuman. He did all these crazy things, and it was just kind of like,
He did play basketball and football, or
I
play
could
basketball,
see
baseball,
somebody-
football at the same
everything.
time.
He
I
was
could see somebody severely injured, passed out, like on the second day.
Yeah,
was
that's-
out
oh,
for
yeah,
a
I'm not
day,
saying
and then
that's
in
not
a
real.
dead
I'm just
body
saying how
pa-
many
oh, yeah.
stories.
And they
sneak
did
through.
like cut limbs off, and it was
Sure,
just
yeah.
like saws. Like
There are reports of people. I mean, we're going.
It wasn't like
long here,
scalpels.
but
Yeah.
there are reports of people that go there that are so empathic too that they can see that people getting dragged, like they can feel like they'll have a flash of themselves getting dragged and thrown into the pit.
wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I
I
have nothing.
I have a
hard.
hard time with
So
that.
I
I
stood in the
try- I try
battlefield and
and-
I was like, I feel nothing.
Yeah, like
Like,
someone comes to me
that's-
like, I'm talking to your grandmother. I'd be like, all right, I'll hear you, but
That's
Yeah.
not what I just
Like
talked
you
about,
know
though.
what people like they
It's-
say they can
sometimes
touch stuff.
they're flash, but yes,
I
they're
forgot the power's called. They can touch stuff.
telekinesis.
And nope.
No, telekinesis. Damn it.
And it's not like
it's like when we
clairvoyance.
look being
Because
empathic.
I've had that experience
Yeah.
at the Holocaust.
I was like, let me touch everything and nothing. I'm not saying there's nothing there, but I never felt anything. I would
Yeah.
love to.
I've done that with the gypsy dress at the Holocaust.
Oh, wow.
The very top of the museum where it starts out nice, and they just kind of show you the different artifacts. There was a, I shouldn't say gypsy, I should say romery. There was a romery princess dress up there, along with the caravans and stuff. And I went up to it, and I saw like a flashback type
Wow.
when I was there.
Yeah, drowning. So essentially, there was so much pooled blood on the ground
You
that
got to think
Yeah.
you can drown in like 3 inches of water
Yeah.
if you're face down.
That might be one of my favorite bands. 3 Inches of Blood got their name. 3 Inches of Blood. Just to, like drop, like, well, don't drop, but like imagine if you dropped a can of soda and you're like, there's a lot of fucking soda that came out of that. Just one. That's 12 ounces.
Mhm.
I don't know how much blood is in the human body.
It's
Much more than 12 ounces.
Look it up.
we have a thing called the Google machine.
So imagine one person dies and they're laying on the floor, all the blood and they got shot. So like it's a big gaping hole.
Now, also, when I type in how much blood is in your body, I don't think every ounce of your
No.
blood.
No, it would come out. But
It's either 1.2 to 1.5 gallons of blood.
okay, so take a gallon of milk and dump it on your floor.
Yeah.
And look at the mess it would make.
Mhm.
Okay, now take 25 gallons of milk and dump it on your floor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a lot of milk.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of blood.
Yeah, especially if people are being hit in contained areas.
Yeah.
Like if you're if 4 people are hit with one cannonball, you're gonna have 4
And
bodies.
think of the landscape there. You had the little
Very
on top,
hilly.
It was very
Yeah, so there
hilly.
was, like,
there was like little
pits.
valley and pits.
Yeah, that you
and if the water table under the ground is higher,
Yeah.
and then the blood tries to go down into the water, it absorbs, but the water table is already high,
And then-
it's gonna sit more
and then
on top.
the rain would dilute blood and make it like bloody water.
Yeah.
And then it's
I mean,
red-
the beaches of Normandy were pretty much stained.
Yeah.
red.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
imagine that. That's
I can't.
crazy. I mean, all the tour guys will tell you when you're going
Yay, war.
there. Yeah.
Senseless.
Hmm.
Crazy. All right. Anything else for Gettysburg?
No, that's it.
Go. It's a nice place to go if you live somewhere.
Oh, the
in
history. The
Pennsylvania.
history. I'm
Yeah,
listen,
that,
I'm
that
not
was gonna be
downplaying.
that was gonna be my plug. Is if you do go, I definitely recommend you go to the museum, go to the panorama, go and see
And the
little
battlefield.
the
Yeah,
battlefield.
go
but
learn the history.
But go early.
Go early. Go to that museum. Go to that first and learn the history. See the panorama, and see the little movie narrated by Morgan Freeman. It's very good.
The Ghost of
It'll
Gettysburg.
take you through all 3 days. No, it'll take you all through 3 days of what happened at Gettysburg, and then you go into the panorama, which is really cool. It's a circle-rama. I'm sorry,
diorama. Yeah.
No, it's a circle-rama because it's all around. It's like one big circular room, and it's this mural that's all the way around you, and it all lights up, and they all show you different parts of the war. So
I would say
that is so cool, and it's like $20, I think.
yeah, I would
well
say
worth it.
go to Gettysburg to learn the history of Gettysburg first. If you're somewhat like, I think I know Gettysburg history and
Yeah.
I'm only going here for a ghost experience, go there for the history
No,
first.
learn the
Like
history
learn
You
the
can go on
history.
ghost tour and then just go
Sure.
enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, the
Because
the
you
ghost
won't
tour guys always give history lessons
and
too.
Yeah.
right, and then you go for the history first, like Tony's saying, because then if you understand a little bit of the history, you might get more of a ghost sense of it then too. Like
you
where
can rationalize things.
you can rationalize things, but you can go to places that like the wheat field and stuff that was really mass destruction, mass violence.
You know, we didn't mention Spangler Spring. I've never been there.
Spangler's.
I'd like to
yes,
go
I've
there
been there.
because obviously Egon Spangler.
Yeah, that's
Spangler.
where he's obviously
That's where
buried.
his name
Mhm.
from.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything there though, and I took a ton of pictures there. Nothing.
Yeah, it's a cool location, man. It's really cool. And if you do go and you're not from the area, or if you are from the area, like, hey, we're going to go Gettysburg trip, let us know. Maybe we'll tag along with you and we'll all go up as a group. We'd like to hang out with our listeners and hang out and learn about you guys. And we want to build a community, right? So like we do have the Facebook community page, and if you're not on Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter. Like reach out to us, have conversations with us. We want to get to know you guys. Like the best part about having these this podcast is like we are starting to experience a little more on the wrestling end, where we are building that community and like having conversations with listeners, and it's a lot of fun. It honestly makes this podcasting experience a lot more fun. Like, we do have some shows where we have zero interaction, and it's just like, oh, cool, what are we doing this week? And then we do it. It's like, all right. But then, like, when people join the chat and chat in and talk, it makes coming here week after week after week a lot more entertaining, because we get to learn each other and talk to each other. And I personally, for me at least, that's how I look at it. But check out our social medias and stuff, and definitely hang out. And if you are going to areas, or if you know some cool areas, and if you're locally, or if you're within a certain driving distance of us, let us know. Maybe we'll all hang out and have some experiences, and you can join the pod for a day and talk about it with us. But anything else, Kelly?
No, that's it.
What's your plug?
That was my plug.
What's your plug?
Go to the museum, go see the Circle-Rama, go to the go and experience that, and then go to the battlefield.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug the Sweet Candy Store right there on, I believe it's the main road, Carlisle Road, and it's Baltimore Pike. I don't know, is that the main road? It's
I
Baltimore
think so.
Pike. It's right in the corner.
I see. Here's
it's
my
sweet with 3 E's, and they have a ton of crazy sodas in the back.
My little secret is I don't know any of the street names. I just know all the locations. Like, I know if I'm at Farnsworth's house, I can go down this block and be.
It's 2 blocks up from the square. The square is very nice. There's also a nice restaurant in the corner.
There used to be a lot of
nice
antique stores and stuff there. There's a lot of boutique stores. The last time I went 2 years ago around Halloween, but not on Halloween. I went for fall foliage to take some pictures. I'll post some of my pictures if anybody's interested. Some of the nice fall foliage ones I took then.
Yeah, I can throw some of mine up as well.
Yeah, if you can't find a place to eat there, Chambersburg is very close.
Fourscore there. Fourscore Brewery, great food.
You'll find a place. I mean, between ABC, because ABC was big a couple of years ago. So when I first started going, ABC was huge. ABC was great. The little Irish pub there is good. What the hell? Well, the Farnsworth house, like we were talking about. Go to the Farnsworth house. Have something to eat. See if you feel anything. And go into the rest.
Anyway, that's a big. And then the battlefield itself.
Breweries of Pennsylvania, which is like encompassing all of Pennsylvania's craft beer scene, did a huge March Madness bracket based on votes on this one app, and like the most active beer community app. And it came down to Poor Man's versus Fourscore. So Fourscore in Gettysburg was ranked number 2 in the state of Pennsylvania as a brewery.
Oh, wow.
When we went there last time, there was a handful of people that were with us that don't drink beer, but they make this. It's called a fruited sour. It's almost like drinking like a mimosa.
Okay.
And it drinks like you're drinking juice. So it's like apple or peach or whatever it is. And everyone who was there who don't drink beer got one, and they're like, they went and bought a 4-pack.
Oh wow.
Like Nikolai doesn't drink beer. He only drinks like ciders. He went and bought like 2 4-packs.
Oh wow.
And they have a lot of cool pop culture references, like they make Star Wars ones and stuff like that. But the food there is really, really good, and it's right there on the main drag, so it's another place you can go and stop and hang out.
Plenty of stuff. There's a comic book store there. So
yeah,
I like Gettysburg.
The whole town has cool
shit. Except if you're after 5 o'clock, you're only going to a couple places.
Yeah,
it's like a
handful, like your bars.
Yeah,
and stuff will be open.
A lot of them old time towns like that.
There was a paranormal museum too that you saw a lot of the ectoplasm photos, and you saw the spirit.
I think that's where you have to sign up for the tour we took within that.
See, that one used to have the haunted exhibit where there was the animatronics and stuff. It was awesome.
Oh, in that room? Yeah, that's
you
where
could
we
walk
saw
upstairs
that was
downstairs.
Quite a few years ago,
and like the stairs would open and like it was cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, see, like that,
I don't know why they closed it.
None of that was there for the pandemic for us.
They closed that back in like 2016, I think.
The blue and the gray. What?
The blue and the gray bar in the square is also a good place to eat.
Oh yeah, the blue and gray. Yeah.
I forget the name of the one that was like a baseball one.
Yeah, I don't know. I was at a very nice one in the corner. I think it was a hotel. Very nice.
That sounds like it's more Cooperstown. When I was up in Cooperstown, there was tons of baseball ones. Of course,
it was like an oldie timey baseball thing. It was really nice.
Baseball.
Yeah. My plug is just the IWEP network. Head over to the website. Like I said, follow us on social medias. If you are watching this and you made it this far, when we do the end credits thing, from now till the end credits, if you can leave us a review on the thing, that'd be great. We'll put it up in the chat and pop it up. If you are on Facebook, you can leave reviews on Facebook, and it really helps us. Or if you're on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to the audio platform, if you are listening and you made it this far, take a screenshot of your phone of what you're listening to, or if you're watching right now, take a screenshot and share. Like, hey, just watch this podcast. You guys should check it out, because the best way we're going to grow is by word of mouth. Subscribe and let people know we exist. Bring a friend.
I do want to plug too. I know the boys are going to hate this, but there's a new moon in Cancer happening in about an hour from now. So go ahead, set your intentions around home and family are best set around this time.
There you go.
I have my little Labrador right there.
You're a Cancer moon.
I am a Cancer moon.
I hope I don't get cancer.
I am a Cancer moon, actually. So that's why I have the little Labradorite here on the table tonight, because that is a new moon stone. That's a good one to set.
You should bring back the horoscopes. at the end of every episode. You should bring that
Well,
back.
the Astro News.
Or no,
this-
like will you read our
You mean tarot?
like our tarot, like our not tarot, the like remember you did the thing like, oh, your horoscope says this for this week for you.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but we were gonna
But
say if they happened or not.
Yeah, yeah.
You should bring that back.
Well, we
as like
could do that, but
Either
I
beginning or end segment.
I think
I thought that was fun.
I thought you shit on it, so I'm like,
I'm
I'm
gonna
forgetting
shit
about
on it, but it was
Yeah, I
still
believe
a
it.
bit. Is a bit on the show. I thought was
Okay.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Like in 2 weeks, did any of your thing come
Yeah.
true?
No. No, it didn't.
I thought it was entertaining.
Your card did there for a while.
Which one?
When I pulled in, what was it, the Nine of Pentacles? They said you'd probably get a job in the near future and you'd be stable for a while.
I was not stable for a while.
Well, you were stable for a little bit, 2 or 3, a month maybe.
Yeah, a month. That
But
ain't a while.
that's
a
a
while.
little bit. That's good for you.
I listen. I normally hold down jobs, but recently it's been a little tough for your boy. Pandemic fucked me up. But all right, that'll do it for us. Truth Behind Illusion podcast. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. What are we doing in 2 weeks?
Glimmer Man or Glimmer People.
The Glimmer People.
Mhm.
You want to give a quick rundown on what it might be?
Yeah, because I have
It's usually like
So we're doing a cryptid.
it's technically cryptid / ghost. It's when you see something, it almost looks like it's like static fog, like something is forming, but it looks like glitter in the air, and it's like a figure, a creature, but like not a shadow. It's like a fuzz, but like a sight fuzz, and they say it could be like an extra dimensional traveler or a ghost or something trying to form itself in this realm, but it's like glitter and it's like see through, but like it's there. That's
so
pretty
it's
cool.
kind of like the ectoplasm then.
Yeah, kind of. It's not really like one thing. It's like Glimmer People. It's
Yeah.
called Glimmer Man.
Also,
Glimmer Men.
in your review, or even right now, if you are watching, if part of your little thing at the end is you have an idea for a topic for us to cover.
Yeah.
If it's we cover conspiracy, we cover ghosts, we cover cryptids, we cover any like alien stuff.
Yeah,
If there's a story,
legend that's like something out of this world,
dude, I've
kinda.
been really. I don't. Like I said, I tend to lean more that I can believe this than anything else. But like when people have experiences of like seeing alien ships and shit,
Uh-huh.
like the one where it landed. You ever hear the one where it landed at the school, like a school in like South Africa or something like that?
No,
Like
I
a
don't-
school landed in the fucking playground,
Oh wow,
and the entire school seen it, and all the kids drew like photos of what they seen.
wow.
And they were just like, yeah, there was way too many people with all
Yeah.
this. Like,
Well, it's slightly more plausible. You think how big the universe is, that
yeah,
life exists.
it wasn't like
somewhere.
one dude in a middle of the woods
I
hunting.
sing the
raccoons.
salsa.
Yeah, I think those stories are pretty fascinating. I gotta like honestly, on a great podcast, the Kryptonaut podcast.
Mhm.
Go follow them. They do a really good job. There are some other podcasters that I have been reaching out to and like talking to
Okay.
about collaborating. Because I have been trying to listen to more
I know that Paranormal Zone.
Paranormal
I-
Punchers.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're from our area.
I found another one, but I haven't checked them out yet. So they sound cool, like from the read-ups. But one episode was 3 hours. I'm like, oh, boy.
Oh, there's a group that I was invited to on Facebook through the Kryptonaut people. So I guess the Kryptonaut people seen me in there, because sometimes we'll say, hey, like we're part of the podcast and we support the Kryptonaut podcast.
And they gave us a shout out a couple times.
They did,
So,
yeah, they're really
thank them
cool.
very much.
The podcast is called Spooks, Creeps, and Assorted Devilry Podcast.
Wow.
And I guess the one girl on the show she said she's going to reach out to me about possibly like an interview me or interview us as a podcast.
Cool.
So we'll have to set that up soon too. But that's another cool podcast, Spooks, Creeps, and Assorted Devilry Podcast. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there to check out. Show them love. If you do listen to them, tell them we sent you, because it definitely opens up the door. But if you have any ideas for future topics, let us know and we'll dive into them. Anything else closing, guys?
No.
All right.
Doctor Strange is on Disney Plus.
Oh, it is
Check
a
it out.
Doctor Strange, and it's super awesome.
Multiverse of Madness.
It's really fucking good.
I didn't like it near as much as the first one.
Wow.
I thought it was
I think you're the only
100
person in the world that said that.
I think it's
Yep.
100 times.
I was like, I think what I told you was a big letdown. Like I thought they would kind of less reveal that she's Magneto's daughter.
Yeah, then
in
not yet.
In
Not
some
yet.
in some sort of universe, I swore
Not
it was going to
yet.
happen. I was like,
See-
son of a bitch.
See, you know what's funny? During that movie,
You thought of me
Oh,
and
no.
you.
I did, because he was trying to like say to her views were like she's,
but her ego was in charge.
she was, I would
her
say her ego,
ego-
her emotions.
Her emotions and ego were in charge.
I don't know if it was so much emotions. It was
Well, what's an
I mean,
what's
not-
the ego? The ego.
no.
is
I
an
don't think there was ego. I think it was
The
more
dark
emotions.
hold was possessing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was more of her emotions than ego. I don't think it was an ego problem.
I think it was an ego problem. She thought she could do whatever she wanted.
But she was also possessed.
She didn't think of the repercussions of other people. That's ego. That is nothing else but ego. When you think of nothing else of yourself and just the
But what
not
if-
the
but her
repercussions
thought
of all
was-
her other selves and
But her
other
thought was
universes,
she was keeping
which I
and
think
holding
she
on
was
to
still
a family.
fucking badass. I mean,
She was holding on to a family. So her
Right.
thing was
But,
But
a family technically didn't exist.
it definitely didn't exist.
It
but
didn't exist in her world.
but in her world, she's possibly like getting over grief. So it's not so much ego as it is grieving.
It's grieving, but it's
Both.
also ego. It's
Yeah.
both.
But
and driven a little power mad.
and she read the dark book, which
Yeah,
gave
kind
her,
It's
of.
basically
gave her
the
bad
It
thoughts.
gives a heel
Necronomicon.
turn. Yeah,
The Necronomicon or the Necro
Darkhold, not the Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. And but there is that's another whole lore too that book actually does exist in real life. The Book of the Damned, and it
and it has a
holds
face on
Yeah,
it.
written in human blood,
Maybe-
bound in human flesh.
maybe
Bound
not with the
in human
face on
flesh,
it. Yes,
written
it
in
is.
human
It is.
I am wearing
a
my
part
evil
of
Dead. I
thing.
forgot.
Yeah,
I
there
didn't
you
even know
go.
I was wearing it. Yeah.
So
But yeah, Sam Raimi fucking knocked out
I
the
say
park.
go watch.
it was.
I
I
thought it was
good.
great.
It was a good watch. I just didn't love
Wow.
it as I thought I would. I guess.
First Doctor. I haven't never seen the first Doctor Strange all the way through, but I hear people.
I
It's
loved
good.
it.
It's been
Not
a
great.
long time.
I've heard Doctor Strange
I think
Multiverse of
that
Madness great.
Yes. It's been a long time since I watched a movie in theaters and then rewatched it as soon as it
Okay,
hit
yeah.
streaming. Like I love Spider-Man and I still haven't like sought out to watch that.
yeah. I mean, I
But
don't usually watch all the movies.
I watched
twice.
Doctor Strange like as soon as it hit Disney.
Yeah,
I
I'm
watched
gonna
it
buy the
again.
Blu-ray because I'm a physical.
And
It
I,
was so
I think
good.
I was semi a little let down too because they were hyping up all these people in it, and then it turned out to be just the handful of people that you
Yeah,
already
but you
heard
got-
about.
It was a good handful.
it
Yeah,
was an okay handful.
there's
Other
like one or
than
two that are like.
Patrick Stewart was the best.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I
No,
know
it's
who you're
okay.
gonna say. No, I'm
Yeah.
not a Fantastic Four fan at all.
You're high.
Well, that's like the two big things coming to the universe. That's like
Yeah.
the two biggest movies they have coming.
X-Men and Fantastic
How
Four.
many times have we done the Fantastic Four?
How many times have we
Never
done
in the
X-Men?
Marvel universe. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
We haven't had a good Fantastic
Well,
Four.
Yeah.
X-Men has been done, but not redone. Like they've done.
It's been redone
different-
twice.
There's actually 8 movies. Okay.
No, and it was a prequel too.
Yeah, that's what I would say. It's a second go at it.
And then
Yeah, but that's
Days
a
of Future
prequel.
Past, like, hey, that
the
one didn't
Fantastic
happen.
Four- The
Yeah.
Fantastic Four was not. It was a complete redone, erased what
Twice.
the old one.
was
Yeah,
done
twice.
twice.
Technically 3 times. That first Roger Corman movie in there.
Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
Yeah, but yeah, that no who
That
fucking-
doesn't count.
people don't even know that existed. I'm saying like you had the first set of characters do 2 movies.
Yes.
Then you had the reboot, which was
Yeah, it was awful.
shot in
We're
one.
turning into not cool here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. It's superheroes are
This
fucking
is our,
right into
our bonus,
paranormal.
our
Yeah.
bonus Marvel universe.
Sorry, you'll love it. All right, we'll see you guys next time. We're out here. If I can find the button.
Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo.
Oh, Paramount Plus. All the Twilight Zones are on there. I've been
Oh,
doing
there
that
you
too,
go.
so check that out. Bye bye.